Also, they were out of field goal range and out of timeouts. So it was like 3rd and 12 or something. And in theory, you back up, let them catch the ball. They can't spike it, because it'll be 4th down. The clock will be running. They'll be outside of field goal range.
Is the Twitch stream going yet, Mark?
It is. I just turned it on.
Well, did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night?
Yes. I don't know. What do you think?
Did they?
I think they should. But I haven't been watching Dolphins football my whole life, so I don't want to be insensitive.
Well, I will say this, Dolphins' final 3 weeks, the Bills' final 3 weeks. I mean, we had the graphic last night that Bills' 3rd toughest schedule the rest of the way. I mean, Bills have lost at home to Denver and at New England, and they should be 7-3, despite them being an absolute mess.
Yeah, I know that the Jets' defense is very good too, but this might be one of those situations where they kind of told us who they were right away, and we just didn't want to believe it yet.
Oh, no. We believed it. No, we've been trying to tell the world when they were winning 3 in a row, and people were talking them up and what have you, and we're like, no, he's terrible. They suck on offense. They're not going.
No. He means the Bills.
Well, why did he mention the Jets?
That the Jets beating them.
Maybe
the Jets
beating the Bills.
Well, but then but after that game, their next 3 weeks, look at what they did. They annihilated 3 opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, what's amazing is they have not looked the same since they beat the Dolphins 48-20.
No.
They've just been a roller coaster ever since Josh Allen got there. That's the fact of the matter. Every single year. This year, it's going to cost them, it looks like.
It's been a pretty good coaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Has it?
Yeah.
3 straight division titles.
Yeah, but 1 AFC championship game, right? Or was it 2?
1. I mean, don't make me go where you live now. Okay. I mean, for you to disparage what the Bills have done this decade is laughable.
Yeah. I just think I think they're underachieving a little bit.
Listen, there's no doubt the 13-second year, 2 years ago, that was their moment.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. They would have hosted the AFC Championship game. They would have hosted the Bengals. That was their moment.
You could argue they were the best team in football that year.
A little champagne to get you started this morning, David?
So the restaurant downstairs just kind of forgot about us 2 nights ago. And finally I got the bill. And they said, "Are you staying here?" I said, "Yeah." And so they gave me, it's Saratoga sparkling water or natural spring water.
Okay, here we go.
Tried to give me the sparkling water.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday morning, wherever you may be. We ask the question, how the heck are you? Hopefully a little better in my voice. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark, in cold Buffalo. Even though it's only about 42 degrees, let me tell you, the spirits, they are ice cold.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. Didn't have any timeouts left. And so it was a bit of a fire drill. And obviously somebody screwed up and there was no way to unscrew up. That to me, and maybe we'll talk to Mike Westhoff, after the season about this. There's one guy who hangs back. I always thought that guy's job was to count. And, we joke about it on this show, but John Perry to my right in the booth and myself, I count. Now, it was hard on that play. It was like hockey. It was a line change. Okay. It was hard. The Broncos with 24 seconds ran the play and they, kneeled and downed it. And so you had both teams making mass substitutions. It was not easy to count to 11 on both sides from the booth. Trust me. But yeah, 4 turnovers, 4 drops, and 2 huge penalties late on the final drive. And Mark, I think we have a very easy poll question. Did the Miami Dolphins win the AFC East last night?
They very well may have. Gifted a game by the Bills. A pass interference penalty when they blitzed on 3rd down. Not sure they really needed an all-out blitz there.
Not sure. That was the worst zero blitz since Todd Bowles against the Rams in the 2021 playoffs with the game tied and under 30 seconds to go. What in the world? All-out blitz in that situation. Denver was out of field goal range. It was 3rd and long, and they didn't have any timeouts left. Hell, you want them to complete a pass in the middle of the field and tackle the guy. And it was a 63-yard field goal at the beginning of that play, and it was like 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 12. My God, it's a horrendous defensive call, especially when you just showed it and ran it the play before. They just called the timeout, and you line up the same way again? You don't think Russell Wilson can adjust to that? Oh, my goodness. Coaching matters, Mark.
No, it does.
Matters.
And I know Bills fans are all over Ken Dorsey, but I think they need to look a little bit one door down the hall, if you know what I mean.
Oh, they're there. They're there. If they weren't there at the start of the game yesterday, they're there now. They're there now. And remember that whole regime. The coach got there before the GM. The coach picked the GM. So, that's a tandem. And they got a tough schedule the rest of the way. I don't know if we joked about it, but we mentioned it late last week with the schedules that both the Bills and the Bengals had left. Is it possible that both Josh Allen and Joe Burrow will not be in the playoffs? And Mark, when we wake up this morning anyway, after week 10, neither would be in the AFC postseason.
Hey, they host the Jets now in a short week. There are no guarantees they can beat that bad football team. The way that their offense is playing right now, the way they turn the ball over, they're just stepping into a better defense than they played this past week. Screw making the playoffs. They got to get past the Jets right now.
I understand. But then even if they do that, take a look at the Bills' schedule the rest of the way.
Oh, you mean at Philadelphia, at Kansas City, home for the Cowboys, at the Chargers, then the Patriots, and finish at the Dolphins? That
right.
schedule? Yeah.
Exactly. And if you're Buffalo right now, you're just desperately trying. Can we play our way back into this mess where we go to Miami week 18 and it's for the AFC East? Because remember, they can be a game back of the Dolphins. And then they can go to Miami and beat the Dolphins and win the East because they will have swept them and they'd win the tiebreaker. But right now, they're 2 back in the loss column. 10-7 is pretty challenging when you're 5-5 and you've got that schedule that we just unveiled there. I mean, road games against Philly and Kansas City, a home game against Dallas, a road game against Miami. You can't beat the Patriots and the Broncos? And we're going to expect you very quickly to elevate your game and beat some of those teams? Whew. Now, they're going to catch both Philly and Kansas City after they play this, huge showdown game, Super Bowl rematch against each other. So maybe they'll catch, who is it? They play Philly first, right?
Yeah, they get Philly first.
Yeah.
And they get the Chiefs after their bye.
Yeah. So, and the Chiefs have already had their bye. So if you've got at Philly and at Kansas City on your schedule, they've got the best case possible. They catch Philly on a short week after they've played the Super Bowl rematch against the Chiefs. Maybe there's a hangover, win or lose. And then they get Kansas City, and they've had 2 weeks to prepare for it. So, but did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? They're 2 up in the loss column on Buffalo. 2 up. Mark, I feel pretty confident 11 wins the East now. I feel pretty confident that the Bills aren't going 11-6. They'd have to go 6-1 the rest of the way.
They'll lose 2 more the rest of the way. The best the Bills can put up is a 10-7 mark right now.
Right. And so the question is, can Miami get to 11? And ideally, can they get to 11 before week 18? Because I think if Buffalo gets their act together, Buffalo will be playing week 18 to win and get to 10-7 and win a tiebreaker. And so can Miami put up 5 wins in the next, 7 weeks? Can they go 5-2 over the next 7 games, Mark?
Interesting, because games 6 and 7 of that are the Cowboys and the Ravens.
Right.
The first 5 you would look at as all winnable. This could be done before they even play the Cowboys.
Well, there you go.
Home for the Raiders.
Yeah.
At the Jets.
Yeah. Okay, not easy.
At the Commanders.
Yeah.
Home for the Titans. Home for the Jets. Not easy to put together a 5-game winning streak in the National Football League.
Right. I get it.
But if they do so, they could have this division sewn up.
I think so. I think 11's the number. You and I are golf fans, in which early on the back 9, you kind of look at the players and you pick a score and you go, I think 17 wins this. I think right now, if you're the Dolphins, if you're Mike McDaniel, you're going, I think 11 gets it done. So can we get to 11? I mean, Mark, if they could go 4-1 in the next 5, I mean, this baby will be over. It will. They'll find a way to win one of their last 3. And who knows? That's if the Bills can even get to 10. I mean, honestly. For goodness sakes, they lost at New England. They just lost at Denver. 4 turnovers, 4 drops, 2 penalties on the final drive. I mean, they're shorthanded defensively, and that defense was exceptional last night. My goodness. The holes that offense put them in. And they bailed them out all night. That's the other thing. My goodness. The offense has to carry the Bills the rest of the way. And your defense was carrying you last night? What the heck, Josh Allen? Oh, this just in. That Patrick Surtain, by the way? Yeah, he's pretty good. I don't know if Diggs had a catch on him last night. And Surtain probably shadowed him about 75% of the time. He's good. He's really good. That's 6 games, Mark, this week. Just this week, 6 games that were decided on the final play of the game on a kick. 6.
Hell, one was decided twice.
Yes, it was.
Inexcusable. I know it was chaotic, and I know there's a lot going on, but your job is field goal block.
Well, especially since you had called timeout on the 2 plays before. I mean, we all knew where this was going. I mean, certainly after the second down timeout. I mean, we were talking about it in the booth. I mean, it was an awkward situation, actually. McDermott, I thought, did a great job coaching using the 2 timeouts. 24 seconds on the clock, and now you're Denver. 3rd and long. You're in field goal range, but you can't stop the clock. You going to risk running a play? And they decided not to. We're going to do the fire drill again. For the game-winning field goal. It's one thing to do it at the end of the first half. You're going to do this to win the game, huh? Okay. But the Bills had time to talk about it. I mean, come on, you get the unit lined up. They're going to kneel.
They're all standing right there. They kneel,
Right.
You go.
So somebody stayed on the field.
By the way, this is one where I know you can't, there's certain guys, but this is a cuttable offense.
Oh, sure. It cost you a game. Absolutely. Absolutely. So did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? Obviously, mathematically, they didn't. But remember, we awarded the NFC North to the Detroit Lions at least a month ago. Was that a Monday night or Sunday night? When did they go to Lambeau and win? And we said,
Thursday.
this baby's over.
Prime TV Thursday.
Okay. But I mean,
We awarded them a division on a Friday morning.
Yeah, we did. Whenever that was, after like 5 games of the season. So now we ask the question of you. Did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, I watched a ton of.
What's
college
that commercial
games last
for? Can you give me that commercial again? What's playing right now?
night.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's the one I don't have control over.
No, I understand
So-
that. No, I understand that. It's not what I'm mad about.
Okay, I'm
God
just making
dang it.
sure.
But Suncoast tournament spending money on this station when I was told at a meeting they were going to spend money with us. So when Jeff comes asking me to do interviews and I say, well, how about you get them from the afternoon, guys?
Is this the FSW tournament?
Yes.
Oh,
God dang it.
Watched a ton of college hoops last night.
I watched a good bit of the Michigan St. John's game while I was at gymnastics.
Michigan can shoot, looks like. That's the scouting report. Shocker.
Well, they did last night.
Yeah.
They were picked 11th in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good. They're just going to run and gun. Plus, they got Martelli running the show right now.
yeah. He's pretty good though.
Yeah, he's solid.
I mean, he had St. Joe's undefeated in the Elite Eight one year. Jameer Nelson.
David, did you get some wings last night?
No, I don't do the stereotypical. Go to
Tourist.
Buffalo, get some wings. No.
You know what last night reminded me of, Mark? You might remember this. And David, you actually might too, because it was in London when the Lions played the Falcons like 10 years ago. And listen to this. Matt Prater.
Who remembers a Lions-Falcons game, period, let alone one from 10? I don't remember 10 minutes ago, let alone 10. I might remember a Lions-Falcons game from 10 years ago. Hey,
Well,
David, do you remember that Heat
Well, come on.
Clipper game
It's
from
not,
18 years ago?
It's not that
Yeah,
already.
wasn't that a Wednesday night, Mark?
It was.
Okay.
No, let me tell you what happened. So Matt Prater missed a 51-yarder at the gun. Then there was a delay of game on the Lions. The Falcons couldn't even decline it. So it got backed up to a 56-yarder and he nailed it for the win. Crazy. And that one
I was thinking of that last night.
that one would sting even more because it's not even your fault.
By the way, Trent, Matt Prater from Southwest Florida.
Oh, is he really?
From
Didn't know.
Estero, right where we went to Estero High School.
Didn't know that. He's still in the league, right?
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Made the game-winning kick.
Had the
Sunday.
game winner on Sunday.
Paul, 3 years ago when we had a 5 o'clock game here during the pandemic, I did have wings for lunch. I did. But it's the last time we were here. It's 3 years ago. Yeah, they're good. I mean, I have to admit, I think you can get good wings anywhere, though. It's not like, there are very few places in which the barbecue is better in Kansas City. I don't think the same way about Buffalo's wings as I do Kansas City's barbecue, but then again, I probably need to go to more places.
Have you been to Memphis?
Mm-hmm.
They've got really good barbecue stuff. So the Chiefs and Dolphins both getting a lot of help on their bye week.
Oh,
That's
my goodness.
You gotta love if you're a fan.
The last two primetime games,
Yeah.
Dolphins couldn't have scripted them.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I come at you from cold Buffalo. And it's not cold by their standards, but boy, it's their mood this morning. Mark, there's a couple of Bills fans that you and I know that I still keep in touch with.
I literally thought about reaching out to one of them last night early in the game when I text you to said, is he bothering you tonight? Because I know he likes to text you during Bills games, but you were working this game. You were kind of busy.
Right.
And I thought I might offer my services as someone that he could unload on if things were not going well.
Mark, I made a mistake. About 50 minutes or so before the game, I took a picture from the booth as to what Highmark Stadium looked like. And I sent it to the two of them. And I go, hey, just thinking of you. I know you wish you were here. Okay. Something to the effect of, should be a good night for you, your home team tonight. We'll see. Send it to them. And so then they both said, well, I mean, if he's reaching out to us,
right,
then it's okay for us to, fire back. So the one guy, he's married, living in Illinois now, got a wife and a dog. And he let me know second quarter that he had already basically been kicked out. He was making too much noise. The wife and the dog went to the room, closed all the doors, and basically she was like, hey, listen, you're in the living room for the rest of the night, okay? And if you want to go out, go out. But I'm fine with it. And 10 minutes later, I kid you not, the other one who's in Texas, married with a dog, okay, the same text. Okay, yep, I just got kicked out too. So throughout the night, obviously the texts are coming, and they're not good. The one is an all caps guy too. Okay, once he goes down that road, he's screaming and yelling the rest of the night. And he's cursing. The other one is calmer. Illinois guy is calmer. Okay, but biting. Texas guy, he's just ranting and raving. He sends a video, Mark, after the game is over, in which I'm trying to make it out. And it's the garage door going up. And he walks outside and looks to his right. And apparently he flies a Bills flag.
Flies the flag. All right.
Right. And he unscrewed the thing and took the flag out and simply threw it down on the ground and went back inside and lowered the garage door. So his Bills flag was lying in the driveway, disheveled.
Flag doesn't touch the ground, man. What are you doing?
That's what I said. I thought the flags aren't allowed to touch the ground. Okay. Does that apply to teams, or is that just the Stars and Stripes? But so that's the kind of night it was. By the way, made the proclamation, I'm done with this team the rest of the year. Not going to watch another game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Exactly. I sent the text. I said $1,000. $1,000. But anyway, that's how they both want McDermott done too. That is the interesting thing here.
It did go from get rid of Dorsey to get rid of McDermott last night, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes. And that he's got to go too, that this group, they've had their run, but that's time for new leadership. And, as Adam in the Twitch chat room said, has this group of Bills, has their window closed? Remember in the 2021 playoffs when it happened, we both said that was Tennessee's and Ryan Tannehill's moment. They were the 1 seed. Everybody was going to have to come through them, and they had beaten everyone in the regular season in Nashville. They'd beaten Kansas City. They'd beaten Buffalo. They'd beaten Cincinnati. And sure enough, that's who they were going to have to go through. And Tannehill with the 4 turnovers, and they lost that home playoff game to Cincinnati when they would have hosted the AFC Championship game the next week. Well, the next day, that was the 13-second game when the Bills took the lead with 13 seconds to go and couldn't hold it, as we all know, and the Chiefs won in overtime. And you wonder, will this group of Bills ever get that close again? Was that their moment and it slipped through their fingers and they're never gonna get back? Because they would have hosted Cincinnati since he was the 4 seed. and the Bills were the 3. The Bills would have hosted the Bengals that year in the AFC title game.
And it's interesting, because you look at Tennessee and you bring that up. That was a moment. We thought the Bills had a window. And the Bills never were able to take advantage of their window, whether it was injuries, whether it was just a Chiefs problem, whether it was a Bengals problem. I mean, they've had a lot of misfortune that is a little outside of football, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They
There
thought
hasn't been ineptitude, it's been injuries.
Right. They thought they were in line for the 1 seed last year. Then the DeMar Hamlin situation happened that night. The game doesn't get played. But the Bills, if they win out, they had the tiebreaker over Kansas City. They were going to be the 1 seed. They were going to get the first round bye, and they were going to have Kansas City and Cincinnati play each other in the division round and then go through them at home. But because that game didn't get played, they finished behind Kansas City by half a game. And then, as it turned out, they lost to the Bengals. So you just wonder, Mark. I mean, you look back, you don't think it necessarily at the time, although we did with Tennessee 2 years ago. We thought, are they ever going to be in this situation again? I highly doubt it. But come on, Josh Allen's what, 27? We're not thinking that, Josh Allen's not going to get back in the, when Marino lost the Super Bowl. And then the next year they lose in the AFC Championship game. Is he even 25 years old yet? Okay, and if somebody had said, by the way, Dan's only going to play in one more AFC Championship game, we would have been like, are you serious?
The question I think people are asking today, has Josh Allen regressed? Because there was a steady climb. The percentages of completions were going up. The interceptions were going down. Now he can't hold on to the football.
Well, he does lead the league in turnovers. And I don't just mean this year. I mean for 6 years. I mean, nobody has turned the ball over like Josh Allen. That is the difference between Allen and Burrow and Mahomes. They take much better care of the ball. I mean, he is a bigger Brett Favre. I mean, he is. Doesn't he remind you an awful lot? Favre, 92, 93, 94. I mean, he kept both teams in the game. It wasn't until we got to the later 90s in which Favre was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to give the opposing team as much of a shot. And then when the Packers weren't as good in the 2000s, he started giving the opposing teams a shot again. He was just as likely to throw it to them as he was to his guys. Josh Allen's got a lot of Brett Favre in him. He's just bigger.
Yeah, he just runs himself.
Right.
And I don't know if, he and Dorsey have a problem and that's why this isn't getting better, or if it's just a Josh Allen problem as it's always been throughout his career.
Well, right before we went on the air, you read off some stats as to what their first half offensive numbers are this year, and they are bad. Bad. Some cases worst in the league. In other cases, bottom 5 in the league.
And those types of starts are putting Buffalo behind the 8 ball every single week. The starting 5 is next right here on Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd rolled out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know what's kind of interesting is this: the AFC West is starting to look like the division everyone thought it would be when Russ first got there, where everyone's competitive. Because quietly, the Broncos have climbed right back. I mean, they're not going to do anything, but they're no slouch now.
They could be a playoff team, though.
Could be. Who do you think is the favorite to get that 7? Houston?
No.
Your Chargers?
Cincinnati.
I just hope it stays tight like this the whole rest of the way because it's been interesting.
Although Houston, that's what the interesting thing is Houston's schedule, I think, is relatively easy.
Yeah.
How was the escort out?
We didn't. Once we got moving, it was great. You know, Phil, I went on the field for a short time, and he wasn't on the field when I was on the field. I was just trying to see him. I had Joe and Troy went down on the field to do a sports, or I don't know if it was a Sports Center hit, but a Monday Night Countdown hit. And I told them, I said, listen, if you see Westhoff, because they almost always do, I said, say hi to him for me. And they kind of looked at me, and I explained our history together. We got back to the hotel like 1 o'clock.
Oof.
If we didn't have the escort, we would have gotten back at 2:30. It was horrendous. We didn't leave the parking lot till 12:15. I could use 2 hours. I really could.
Time do you leave?
Noon. So I may bug out that last segment.
All right.
Although the airport's only like 20 minutes away. think it depends on how my packing goes during the show. The other good thing is the rental car place is, directly across the street from the terminal. You don't have to take a shuttle. You just walk.
Not many of those left.
No. Old stadium, old airport. I will say, Ambien, nobody was open last night. The Bills secondary did a great job. Although I thought Denver should have been running more crossing patterns over the middle of the field. Everything they were running seemed as if it was north-south. But they just had the one receiver who was able to get open.
What a catch there. That touchdown.
Oh, my goodness. I thought he was in, too.
I was watching he likes watching the Mannings, and we were watching that, and it was Mahomes was on at the time, and Manning's like, oh, what a catch. And Eli's like, he's out. I mean, it was just so matter of fact. And I was with Eli.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour, David Samson will join us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Angelique Chengelis, who covers Michigan football, she'll join us 2 hours from now. So it's another action-packed, jam-packed, busy Tuesday in which we ask the question, did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? And that's because of our lead story in...
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, the Broncos did everything they could to give the Bills a chance to win this game after the Bills gave Denver every chance and then some for them to put the game away. Buffalo committed 4 turnovers, had 4 drops. But Denver didn't take advantage of great field position all night. And when Josh Allen and company ran the ball down their throat, literally a drive in the final moments in which they didn't throw a pass. And when Josh Allen scored with under 2 minutes to go and they kicked the extra point, something Denver did not do twice. They botched 2 extra points. 1 kick off the upright and 1 bad hold. It looked as if Buffalo was going to win 22-21. And then Russell Wilson made a couple throws, but then the Bills gave it to him. All-out blitz on 3rd and long, pass interference, obvious call. Denver set up inside the 20. But as fate would have it, with no timeouts, they had to rush the field goal kicker onto the field in the closing seconds to attempt the game-winning 41-yard field goal. And he missed it! Wide right, Bills win! Oh, wait. They've got 12 men on the field. Move that sucker 5 yards closer. Will Lutz drills it. Broncos win. Broncos win 24-22. That's another underdog. That's another under by a point in prime time. The unders are crushing it this year. The Bills fall to 5-5. The Broncos improved to 4-5. Remember when they were 1-5? They've not beaten Kansas City and Buffalo back to back. Are we going to take them seriously or no?
Have to
anyway,
consider taking them seriously with those wins.
I mean, Vegas with 2 wins with Antonio Pierce has gotten to 5-5. Denver, 3 wins in a row. They've gotten to 4-5. But did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? They are 6-3. And the Bills are 5-5. Never mind the Jets are 4-5. And, well, the Patriots are barely allowed to still be in the league. They're so bad. Don't worry, though. They're better than the Giants. But did the Dolphins win the East last night? Is that our poll question, or am I just lobbying for it?
We can put it up, and I'll put it up right now.
All right.
Done.
There you go. College football news. This actually happened during our show yesterday. Mississippi State fired Zach Arnett. I mean, they didn't want him to have the job. Obviously, everybody still wanted Mike Leach to be alive, and the Pirate to be the head coach of Mississippi State. Look for Zach Arnett, who was an acclaimed defensive coordinator. Don't be surprised if he ends up at USC. Brady Hoke said he's going to retire at the end of the season. He did some good things at San Diego State after his Michigan tenure. Jim Harbaugh, speaking of Michigan, he says, I want to be heard. I'm going to talk. So he's going to be at his Friday hearing.
Yeah, he's watched a lot of shows with lawyers on him, apparently. Really looking forward to doing this.
Outstanding. I mean, listen, you and I have watched plenty of Law and Order. We do it too.
Did you know he was a guest on Judge Judy? He was in the audience.
Jim Harbaugh?
Hanging out. 2013. Yes, Jim Harbaugh. He was hanging out at Judge Judy.
This is the God's honest truth. We asked Jim Harbaugh earlier this year, hey, what do you do? What's your hobby? And he said, cutting the grass. That was his answer. Cutting the grass. Just like getting on my mower and cutting the grass. Okay. All right. Good. Back to you, Jim, in the studio. Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, he's back as the starter because the guy that replaced him got hurt and is out for the year. So he'll quarterback against Louisville. That's top 10 Louisville. Arizona State AD Ray Anderson resigns. That's after he ruined the athletic department. So it's a little late for that, Ray. NBA Celtics in the second half outscored the Knicks by 17. That's a win and a cover for Boston, 114-98. Jason Tatum with 37. Toronto was down big to Washington. Then they went on a 21-1 run late. They beat the Wizards by 4. Giannis, another day at the office, 35-11. Bucks beat the Bulls 118-109. And Sacramento head coach Mike Brown got his 400th win in the NBA, and it was fitting he got it against Cleveland because that was his first head coaching gig when he helped take LeBron to the finals for the first time. Or maybe more accurately, LeBron helped take him to the finals for the first time. Sacramento beat Cleveland 132-120. Heat and Magic both in action tonight on the road. College basketball, Kane struggled with FIU, but held off the Panthers 86-80. Penn upset Villanova at the Palestra. It's good to see the five playing one another on a regular basis again in Philly. Penn beat them 76-72. Michigan whooped up on St. John's at the Garden 89-73. Florida State whooped up on Central Michigan 94-67. UNF lost to South Carolina State by 10. Stetson lost by 31 to 6th-ranked Houston. And FGCU lost at Pitt 86-74. Women's hoops, UCF won by 23. FAU beat North Florida in overtime. And the Gators over FAMU 92-54. Hockey marked just 2 games. Chris Knobloch made his NHL head coaching debut for Edmonton. They had a big third period. They beat the Islanders 4-1, just their 4th win of the year. And your Avs, your pick to dance with Lord Stanley, they whooped up on the Kraken. We're finding out that this year is not like last. 5-1 the final. Lots of baseball news yesterday. First off, the Astros introduced their longtime bench coach, Joe Espada, as their manager. He replaced the retired Dusty Baker. Espada's finished 2nd and 3rd for a bunch of managerial jobs in the last 5 years. A couple of unanimous rookies of the year. We should ask the question, do you know where these guys play baseball? Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson. I would hope you know where Corbin Carroll plays ball. His team was just in the World Series. He's an outfielder for the Diamondbacks. Gunnar Henderson, shortstop for the Orioles. So Major League Baseball did a nice thing. They arranged for Cal Ripken Jr. to be the one to call them and say, hey, you're the rookie of the year. You know, one Orioles great shortstop to another. Milwaukee expected to name their longtime bench coach, Pat Murphy, as their manager today. ESPN Bet launches today. I think in 14 states. Florida is not one of them.
No, it is not.
No. And
Caught some of the language given to the ESPN employees on what they're allowed to do. They're not allowed to bet. You know, they can't hold any information. ESPN sending out their corporate memo that was leaked yesterday about how they're going to handle gambling going forward.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can't bet on sports you cover.
Right. Yep. It was brought up in the production meeting yesterday morning, which was hysterical because Stanford Steve was sitting on the other side of the desk, okay, who does nothing but, you know, make predictions and place bets on games for a living. There was a funny moment in the meeting. They asked Stanford Steve for a prediction on the game, and he said, I won't do that. So without hesitation, the producer turned and looked at me and said, Moulton? And, of course, we had just done a show. You had rattled off how great the unders were for the year in prime time. I knew that the Bills hadn't covered in their last 5. So I just rattle off the top of my head. Unders are 88-60 in the NFL. They're 26-7 in prime time. And the Bills haven't covered their last 5 games. Take Denver in the 7. And the whole table looks at me like, this is a degenerate. This guy's got a problem. And the ESPN executive is like, I'm a little worried about you. I'm like, don't be. I'm harmless.
It was an under.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. By a point.
Doesn't matter.
That counts.
You got it.
And finally, and you can have as much fun at this as you want. So apparently, somebody in the athletic department, I'm assuming it was the athletic department, it might have been the university treasury in Tucson, the University of Arizona. Somebody did the math recently. And Mark, apparently there's a shortfall. Oh, okay. Yeah, the athletic department, there's a shortfall. Well, you know, we're going to the Big 12. We're going to make a little bit more money in a year or two. How much do we have to make up? $240 million.
$240 million.
I'm sorry. What?
That's not a shortfall.
No, that's a
that's the gross domestic product of several nations, David.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Did you just add a 0 and it's really 24 million? No. Actually, it's 240 million. So for the moment, Arizona has 23 varsity sports. I'm taking the under. How about you?
I will not take that bet with you, David. I'm not going to challenge you on going under 23 sports.
In fact, I say we come up with a new number. Over under 18.5.
Well, they have 6 more than the average Big 12 school.
There you go. There you go. So they're going to have about 100 athletes in the portal whose scholarships, well, what will happen is their scholarships will still be good at Arizona. They just won't have a sport to play. So they'll have to decide whether or not they're going to stay there or not. But yeah, so somebody did the math, tapped someone on the shoulder and said, hey, has anybody shown you the books? No, why? I think we're running a little short. Oh, really?
How short?
According to my calculations, 240 million. I'm sorry, what?
What? 240 what?
Yeah. That's the University of Arizona, who's having the best football season they've had in a long time. And apparently that and basketball are going to be the only sports that they're going to play going forward.
What's that coach's buyout? They're going to need it.
Yeah. Oof, man. But in all seriousness, if you're a coach at one of their sports, aren't you looking to leave?
Quickly.
Yeah. And so at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
David Samson in 10 minutes. Did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? You can phrase it however you want. Did the Bills lose the AFC East? Whatever you want. But Buffalo giving one away late to Denver. They're 5-5. 5-5. Wow. Bengals are 5-4. If the playoffs started today, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen would be watching them.
And CJ Stroud would be in them.
As the 7 seed. Yeah, baby.
And they're not going away because their schedule won't allow them to. So Buffalo, better get your act together. Cincinnati, better figure this out. Oh, by the way, Bengals, you go to Baltimore in a short week. Good luck.
It's getting late early, as Yogi Berra once said, for both the Bills and the Bengals.
And there are very few teams that don't think they're in it in the National Football League right now. Because as we just pointed out, the Broncos still think they're in. The Raiders still think they're in.
The Jets, apparently unaware of who their quarterback is, they still think they're in. Raiders are 5-5. Denver and the Jets are both 4-5. Buffalo's 5-5. The Raiders and the Bills have the same record. Damn. It's a crazy year.
And one's already gassed their coach.
Right.
David Samson is next here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd, with over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Caviar in the media booth. They did have very good brisket in the press box last night.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Yourself?
Good. Thank you.
Nice to be back in the cozy confines, huh?
Happy to be home. Were you in Buffalo last night?
I'm in Buffalo this morning.
Boy.
Come on now, it's 44.
It's actually not bad. It's warmer.
Yeah, exactly. It was much colder in Missouri over the weekend.
How does Josh Allen stink all of a sudden? How can you be a GM of a team? It's almost impossible.
Well, the theory around these parts is that Brian Daboll was a bit of the mastermind and, helped Josh Allen a lot. And he's been gone for 2 years, and Josh has really slipped under Ken Dorsey.
That's one way to take the heat off the head coach if you're the head coach.
Well, and also take the heat off the franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I see a ring light. I don't know why that is.
A ring light.
Right there.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday, and we begin it every Tuesday with David Samson. He have nothing personal with David Samson. It is a weekday podcast, Monday through Friday, that he does live at 8 a.m. He also talks baseball on the CBS Sports family. You can follow David on Twix, Twitter/X at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson. You made the comment right before we came on that it's tough to be a general manager when your great players stop being great. And you made a comment that Josh Allen is suddenly, not Josh Allen. And how do you run the Bills if he's not one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league?
Well, you can't win that way, and they've made their bed. So what they're going to have to start doing is going down the chain. You start with the offensive coordinator, you end up with the head coach, and eventually the GM. Because if you're the owner of the Bills, you can't assume you made the mistake with Josh Allen, because you always will go back to what he was and say that's what he should be and will be again. So you start just firing people in order, and I think the Bills, if they miss the playoffs, will have to do that.
Is it the same in baseball? Because obviously, in football, there's not these guaranteed contracts. You can figure out a way to get rid of your star player, at least in a lot more short order than you can in baseball. So is it the same level of panic and firing in baseball when your star player quits being a star?
Well, you ask yourself why. Why is the star player? Is he hurt? Is he somehow not working out the way he did? What exactly has changed? Is it our evaluation of him that was wrong? That's when you start firing scouts and then coaches and then managers and then GMs. Because if you have too many star players that you signed to huge contracts or traded for too many players with big contracts and none of them work out, in any other organization there are changes other than the new Yankees under Hal Steinbrenner, where you can make as many mistakes as you want and not get fired, which is pretty good job security.
I want to hug you right now. You have no idea how much I want to reach through and just hug you. So you earlier, I think it was last year sometime on our show, you said basically you always thought you were alive until you were mathematically eliminated. So are you trying to tell us there was never a loss in like late July where you didn't say to your wife or your dog or your owner, it just didn't go, we're cooked. We're
Never.
done. We're not gonna come back from this one.
Absolutely not. Can you imagine being in the game for 18 years and saying that in July? That would be the equivalent of saying that you're Now, if you're tanking, it's different because then you do it in February. But if you're trying to win and you give up in July, it creates such
I'm not
a
saying you
problem.
give up, but sometimes there's that loss because, like, we're doing the math. We think the Dolphins won the AFC East last night. That the Bills, with their remaining schedule and what have you, that they're obviously not they're not going to quit trying. But we just think that now the numbers are going to work against them. I'm just wondering, after a loss, did you ever think, oh, blank, we're cooked?
Well, that's why I have the 30-minute rule that I think I've told you guys about. No decisions can be made within 30 minutes of either a win or a loss because you're never as bad as you think when you lose and you're never as good as you think when you win. So you seem to be violating the 30-minute rule. The Bills woke up today and they're pissed, but they're doing just fine.
Did you ever violate your own 30-minute rule, and is that why you instituted it? I mean, is that something that you had to learn from, and you made that mistake and said, "Damn it, I can't ever do this again. I've got to give myself a buffer before I make rash decisions."
Certainly, the reason that rule came up is because of mistakes that were made by the organization prior to the institution of the rule. But keep in mind that was my rule. Our owner violated that rule on a consistent basis. And owners do not abide by that rule, which is very difficult for baseball people or for presidents of teams because they see a blown save and they immediately say, get rid of the closer, name a new closer, send them out, do something. You've got to do something. I can't underestimate to you how many owners say to their presidents and GMs, what are you doing? Because you've got to do something. And sometimes that's not the answer.
David Samson, Nothing Personal with David Samson. It is a podcast he records live at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. He's also part of the CBS Sports family and the Dan Le Batard Show. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at David the letter P Samson. All right, you're still very connected in baseball. Are we to believe, we've got a few Cubs fans in the Twitch chat room that want to know, hey, if we're spending this kind of money on a manager, does this mean we're going to be spending big time money on players?
Wait, I must. Which organization are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Cubs.
Didn't the Cubs sign that shortstop? What's his name? Dansby Swanson. They gave him a penny or two, didn't they? Do the Cubs ever not have a big payroll? Am I missing something?
There's guys that are on the market. Are they going to, I guess, keep spending, or are they going to go, no, we've spent our 130 a year. We're not going to spend 200.
Here's what the fans, I think, are asking. is that why would you pay a manager $8 million a year if you don't feel as though you're going to be competitive? And my answer is, of course, the Cubs are going to be competitive. Look at the division. The Brewers' window is closing, if not closed. And look around the rest of that division. You say to yourself, wow, the Cardinals, they may sign a starting pitcher or two, but they're getting on the wrong side of 30, their main core. And so how's it all going to work? And the Cubs have a really good team. And they still get criticism for what they did with Rizzo and Baez and Bryant. And I say, amen. I say, way to go, Cubs. You smartly got rid of those guys because you weren't going to win with them again. So if you're a Cubs fan with Counsell over 5 years, I would expect no fewer, well, let's give an exact number. 3 division titles is what you will get over the next 5 years. And then I can't predict playoffs because, as you know, they're totally unpredictable.
With the Astros promoting their bench coach and the Brewers promoting their bench coach, is that just a counteraction to the Counsell signing of all that money? We talked about this last week, David, that teams don't want to spend that. Is that just a reaction of, hey, we're going to show you we can do this cheaper and more efficiently than you can?
Well, I've been saying on Nothing Personal since the minute Counsell signed that I think Craig Counsell is the Deshaun Watson of managerial contracts. And I don't mean the person. I mean the contract, where the $230 million guaranteed to Watson has proven to be a ceiling in football in terms of guaranteed money. There will not be a manager that gets over Counsell's 8 because the owners are angry, as they should be with what Ricketts did. There was no reason to give him $8 million a year. And it used to be that owners would only spend stupid money on players. That's the hope. Then it sort of bled into GMs when Andrew Friedman got $10 million. And now the top of the GM market is that and has not been surpassed. And I think what Craig did is top off the managerial market.
Did he make a mistake staying in the division, if you know what I mean? You know, he's a Wisconsin guy. They love him in Milwaukee. He didn't burn that bridge. He blew it up.
It's done. It's burned. And listen, maybe time heals it, but Milwaukee's got long memory, and people in Milwaukee, and I'm from Milwaukee, you don't go from the Brewers to the Cubs the way Counsell did unless you're willing to burn that bridge. And the irony is, I think he went to the Cubs not just because of the $8 million, but it also enables his kids to stay in high school in Milwaukee. It enables him to, in theory, he could commute from Milwaukee. That's how easy it is to get from the north side to Milwaukee. So I was just surprised at the way he did it. And I think that his response in the media yesterday was so bad. How could he not have had better PR coaching? And I can't wait to talk about this at 8 a.m. this morning. But what Counsell did during the interview was say, yeah, you know, I didn't think it would be this bad. And there was something in my head, and it sort of satisfied me going to the Cubs in my head. It was such horse hockey that I felt terribly for the people of Milwaukee and for Counsell, because he could have started the rehabilitation process, but instead he dug a little deeper.
You know, the NBA has this in-season tournament, and I kind of laughed when they did it. But the numbers early on are significantly higher than same game. I mean, 55% higher, 60% higher in television numbers. And David, you and I both know that's what it's all about. So is baseball looking at that tournament? Could you ever imagine baseball having an in-season tournament?
No, we have a hard enough time getting owners to allow their players to play in the World Baseball Classic because they don't want their players to get hurt, and they pretend they support it, but they really don't when they conspire with their players to be the fall guy and the bad guy and not allowing the players to play. And they disguise it in insurance issues like happened with Kershaw last year at the World Baseball Classic, or 2 years ago, whenever the last one was. I think it's like with the Olympics. If I'm a president of a team, I'm not letting my best player go to the Olympics. Absolutely not. Are we going to shut down the season in the middle? That's not practical. You'd have to do a spring training again. Are you going to play games without your best players? I don't want to do that. Are you going to let your best players maybe get hurt in the Olympics? I'm not going to do that either. So I think that anything that takes players away from the regular season and winning the World Series trophy is not something the owners would want.
So you would not be in favor of the players playing in the Olympics, because it's going to come to a head in the NFL here in a few years. Like Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes has said, I want to play flag football in the Olympics. Okay. I mean, come on now.
Like MLB players playing T-ball.
Yes.
Well, yes.
So what? Of course, I'd always like to be a child and go back and play t-ball. What does that mean? Mahomes wants to play flag football.
Well,
Is
but
it
I'm
that he
just
wants to
saying
get a
he's
gold
going to
medal?
say to he's going to be about 30 years old, 31 years old. He's going to look at the owner and go, I've done a lot for you. You've done a little for me. I've done a lot for you. I want to play. It's July, August. That doesn't count. I'm not going to get hurt. It's flag football. Let me play in the damn Olympics.
They have a better shot than the baseball players do of playing in the Summer Olympics during the summer. I think the professional football players will end up playing flag football. And listen, as a fan, I love the dream team in 92 in Barcelona. Are you kidding me? God, I'm old, but I want Major League Baseball players to play in the Olympics. I think it would be amazing. As a president of a team, absolutely no chance.
Are they going to pass Oakland moving to Vegas? Is that done?
The owners are going to pass it, but I still don't think that means that the A's are moving to Vegas. And I'm going to talk more about that today throughout the day in different media outlets around the country, because the headline you're going to read today, I promise you, final vote taken, A's moving to Vegas. It's a done deal. And that's not inaccurate. What is happening? Thursday is the day, actually.
Well, 10 seconds. Why?
There's a lot of steps. The owners approving it has to happen, but that still doesn't correlate to the team moving. You have to get agreements done with the city, the county, the state. You have to finish your private financing.
Okay.
There's myriad things.
All right. He's David Samson. He talks about a myriad of things every weekday at 8 a.m. on Nothing Personal with David Samson. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at David, the letter P, Samson. David, thanks for your time.
Take care, guys.
And as Ambient says in our Twitch chat room, do another segment with David if you can. I love hearing him.
He's a busy man. We're lucky we get to squeeze in the 12, 13 minutes a week we get with him, and we're very appreciative of his time. Nothing Personal is the podcast. We'll react to what David said. Pat Kirwan in 47 minutes. Thanks for listening. Where else? Right here, Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Damn, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd rolled out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mute. What's our current thought of the Packers? They're a bad football team.
Jordan Love ain't it.
Their offense is really bad. The defense is pretty decent.
Hot take. I think if they don't turn this around within next year, LaFleur will be out of there. Because I think he was kind of brought in to be Aaron Rodgers' puppet. Because McCarthy, you know, they butted heads a little bit towards the end. And they might just, like, if, put it this way, I think when Love is done, if they move off Love, if they get a draft pick this year and pick a new, they're going to get a new coach in there.
Could be.
Whether they should or not.
No, it's.
But it'll be interesting because they've never had to make those types of decisions with an owner. You know what I mean? And they don't have that. So
right.
That'll be interesting. Ambient, I do have a hat. I'm just not wearing it right now. Pistons hat. Starting to get a little bit of a headache. Probably because I got no sleep last night watching all the college hoops and then watching that beauty of a Monday Night Football game.
All right. There's nothing better than David drinking that bottled water that looks like he's drinking a 40 of OE 800 right now. Love that Sparty's ranked ahead of James Madison.
I know. I saw that and I was like, well.
Such a joke. I hate it.
That's college basketball for you, especially in the early season.
And when they lose to Duke tonight, they'll take them out of the rankings.
What if they beat Duke?
They don't ever beat Duke.
They did when I was there.
I know.
The one good year they had when I was there.
I know.
But yeah, what is this? 2-13 against Duke or something like that? I don't know. Not good. KW, you know what I think about that. Rodman being the best player to ever average less than 10. But I don't know. What do I know? It's probably him or Ben Wallace. Oddly enough. It's one of those two.
What did Robert Horry average for his career?
maybe. Let me look at that because he was actually a starter in Houston, right?
He was, but there's so many years where he played a bench role. I don't know what his total average.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure it's right around like 8. 10.1. Well, hang on.
Okay.
No, that's not right. Sorry. That was in 1993. I don't know why that came up for 7 on the dot. 7 points per game. So it could be him.
I think I'd take Rodman as a better player.
Yeah. Well, Rodman's a Hall of Famer too.
Right.
Ben Wallace, though, 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Monster. Good topic of discussion, though, KW. Okay, here we go in 10 seconds. Hopefully, David's ready to rock.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, Florida Sports Network.com. Thanks for being with us. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. Angelique Chengelis in a little more than an hour. She covers Michigan football. Anything going on there?
Nothing at all. Nothing to see here. Just previewing the Maryland game. Is that why we have her on today?
Yep. And, we like Angelique. Haven't talked to her in a while. Want to see how mom is doing. And, has she, gotten any Skyline chili recently, that sort of deal. But hopefully, we can find something to talk about with Michigan football. I hear they're pretty good this year. So, I came to the realization during the break, and I'm packing up in the hotel room. For those watching the Twitch chat room, I was gone for most of the break. I'm packing up. Okay, it's a long process. I'm a spread outer guy. Okay, I'm in all corners of the room. So I need a few commercial breaks to kind of rein everything back in over a couple of days. So I apologize for that.
I would have been different than you in that yesterday when I used to work on the road, I would have been packed last night. Literally, the suitcase would have been completely packed except for what I was wearing today.
Gotcha.
I don't like that panic. I mean, you've got enough time with the show and a couple commercial breaks, but
yep. So so I'm packing, and while I'm packing, I'm thinking about our poll question. Did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? And left unsaid in the question is, with the Bills losing another game that they shouldn't have lost. They're now 5-5. They lost at New England. Now they lose at home to Denver. I mean, the Bills should be in first place. They should be 7-3. The Dolphins should be a half a game back in the loss column, having lost already to Buffalo this year. And we're circling that end of the season, week 18, Buffalo at Miami game. But we asked, did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? And Mark, for as much as I believe they did, I can't put the X next to them in the standings. It's not like when the Lions beat the Packers on that Thursday night over a month ago. And no. Division's done. The Vikings have started 0-3, 1-4. It's done. Over. Done. Lions have won the North. In my heart, I think the Dolphins won the East last night. But I can't put the X next to them.
Do you not trust them?
No. And quite frankly, the schedule's challenging. I mean, and Mark, they haven't beaten good teams. This just in, they finish with 3 good teams.
They do finish with, they finish with 2 good teams in Buffalo.
Well, but Buffalo owns them.
Well, and you beat me to it. There's no doubt that Buffalo is Miami's kryptonite.
Right.
But right now, I can't call Buffalo a good team.
No, but they are if you're a Dolphin fan. You look at them and you go, oh, boy. I mean, there's no fan base in the league right now that looks at the Bills and thinks as highly of them. I mean, goodness knows the Bills fan base doesn't look at them and think as highly of them as the Dolphin fan base does. So I can't, for as much as I want to, and as much as deep down I think they're going to win the East, it's not like the Lions. I can't put the X next to them.
I got to get to something with you here quickly. And I'm been hesitant for the last hour to bring this up. But you also, in a commercial break, you kind of big-timed all of us. And it was just a commercial break. Yeah. You were asked very simply, did you get any wings? And you said, I'm not a tourist.
I didn't say it like that.
It came out.
You were a little disgusted by the question.
Thank you, Trent. And it's one thing to not be a tourist. It's another to not eat buffalo wing, to say buffalo wings are great everywhere when you're in Buffalo.
Well, I mean, I just didn't feel that, life's not complete unless every time you go to Buffalo, you have the wings.
Okay. Every time you go to New Jersey, do you get White Castle?
Every damn time.
The defense rests.
Every damn time. Yes. And I hit a diner, and I hit Chinese, and I hit a pizza place, and I hit my favorite bagel place every damn time. Yes, I do. But, that's home. That's mom, So you're right. Yeah, I mean, you make a dadgum good point.
That's all. And I understand you're not a tourist. You're there in a working capacity.
Right.
And I get it. I've been there. I understand what you're talking about,
No.
but I think you should separate your eating from your tourist-like abilities.
You know, you guys make a dadgum good point. I was wrong.
That's all.
I was wrong.
It hurt a little. My face almost fell into a vat of blue cheese dressing, David.
I was wrong. And you know what? Considering I haven't been in Buffalo in 3 years, I should have had wings. I should have. I actually ate better than that Sunday night. All right. I did. I sat in a nice restaurant. I mean, cloth napkins? Real silverware and everything. Yes.
Were you nervous?
I was shaking a little bit. I was. I'm not going to lie. And you could tell that they knew I was the out of place one because they forgot about me. I mean, honestly, they waited on everybody else. I couldn't even get the damn check. I waited 40 minutes just to get the check. I mean, they were kind of like, are we even going to accept his money? I mean, what the is he doing here? Yeah. So you're right. You know what? Next time, screw the damn cloth napkins and the real silverware. All right. Give me paper towels and some damn wings.
There you go. There you go. Win in Buffalo. Because, you know, you might not. And David, based on the way they're playing, you might not be back anytime soon.
Could be another 3 years. That is true.
Time now for our play of the day. Let's hope all the buttons work. Trent, what do you have for us?
We'll stay in Buffalo. We'll go up to the booth that David was in last night. Will Lutz misses a 41-yarder wide right. Game over. But there's some laundry on the field. 12 men on the field gives Will Lutz another crack from 36. And
good snap, good hold. Kick, perfect. And the Broncos have come to Buffalo. And they're going to leave with a win.
Will Lutz spells his name with one L, and that's exactly what he handed Buffalo last night. Bills are now 5-5. Analytics, your guys' favorite word, says they have a 33% chance to make the playoffs. And nobody is happier on this Tuesday morning than the Dolphin fan, despite what David Moulton might have you believe. And that is your play of the day.
Whoa. Hold on a second.
You just don't want to crown him yet. That's okay.
No, not yet. Not yet. They
That's
need
fair.
to take care. Hey, listen, you ask a Dolphin, you find 3 Dolphins that think the East is over. Honestly, find 3.
21,000 is the text line. I will say, based on the votes on Twitch on our poll question today, have the Dolphins won the division? It's like 80% saying yes.
Wow.
You know what, David? I'll give you this. When I was listening to you guys the day after the Lions beat the Packers on Thursday Night Football and you were calling it a done deal, I was nervous. So I get what you're saying as far as we can't give it to the Dolphins quite yet. I hear you.
85% of the vote says the division's over.
That's jarring.
85%.
Right. 15 years the last time they won the division. Bill Clinton president last time they won a playoff game. There's a little trauma in that fan base, Trent. You should be able to understand that as a Lions fan.
I do.
Trauma. Right. Mm-hmm.
But the trauma is eased when the Bills cannot get out of their own way.
Yes.
But Miami has a run here of 5 games. Can Miami put together a little win streak? Because the schedule makers have given them the opportunity to do so. And now can Miami take care of it before their final 3, where they've got the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills to finish the season?
I want to vote yes. You know I want to vote yes. I so want the Dolphins to be good. I want them to win playoff games. I want to play and sing the damn song. Okay? I don't care what trademark rules we violate. Honestly, I want to pay the damn fine. Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd rolled out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry, They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, outside of a toothbrush, what's the most important thing to not forget when traveling?
Toothpaste. I don't know. It's a lot easier to answer that for men, probably.
Oh.
Or harder to answer, I guess,
No,
depending on.
to me, it's a toothbrush and enough underwear.
Yeah.
Make sure however many underwear you're supposed to bring, double it.
That's all you need.
And then I'm good. Everything else I can figure out. Yeah, now you're probably right. Phone charger. I left one my last trip.
Oh, that's a good one. That's probably my answer. Wallet? Wallet even these
I'm
days.
with OK Music. All my dirty clothes are folded very neatly.
Deodorant? That's a good one.
I don't even consider a wallet because you always have your wallet. You have your wallet when you go to the store.
Well, plus you could get by without it these days. Unless you need to show your ID for something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can pay with your phone. Here we go. One more sip of champagne.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until Pat Kirwan joins us here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And Doll fans are feeling it this morning, at least those who have responded to our poll question with the Bills losing last night and falling to 5-5, 2 behind Miami in the loss column. Did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? And over 80% of you said, yep, put an X next to them in the standings. This sucker's over. By the way, did you say the same thing about the Eagles in the NFC East? They have a challenging schedule ahead. I mean, they got at Kansas City. They got, Buffalo. They still have to go to Dallas.
And they already beat the Cowboys once.
Yep. They've been splitting in recent years with the Cowboys. So Dallas has a challenging schedule, though. We talked about this before the season started. We said, AFC East, NFC East play each other. Those two divisions had soft schedules last year. Not the case this year. A lot of quality opponents on their respective schedules.
It's why there was part of me that wanted to have a little pretender-contender with you.
Ooh, we got time.
Because Atlanta's 4-6.
Right.
Atlanta would have the 9th overall pick in the draft right now.
And yet they're, a game back in the South?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but also there's contender for the playoffs?
For the playoffs. Because I think realistically, if we're doing pretender or contender for the Super Bowl, it's a pretty short list.
Which is interesting, though, because you have 6 teams in each conference who are 6-3 or better. So of those 12, you're whittling quite a few off. You're like, yeah.
Okay,
whatever.
let's just go with the 6-3 teams then.
Uh-huh.
Pittsburgh.
Championship contender?
Yeah.
Or playoff contender?
No. If you want to make this the ultimate championship contender. That's a pretender, David.
Yeah, it is. The offense just ultimately is not good enough. They're going to make the playoffs, though. And it's going to honk a lot of people off because they're going to be a bad watch, but they are going to make the playoffs.
The Browns.
You're not going to like this, but if Deshaun Watson is showing signs of being Deshaun Watson.
He's played one really good half.
I understand, but, he's got a lot that he's shaken off here, including an injury. Put it this way.
Pay someone to shake it off for
him. Well, you can't do that anymore.
That was a good one.
Nope.
That was clever.
So, believe it or not, since that's an offense that can complement the great defense, I would say contender.
Jacksonville.
Contender.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they had an awful day. Both their tackles were hurt, and they caught the Niners at the wrong time. Wrong team at the wrong time. Listen, if you're going to say that about Jacksonville, you have to say it about Detroit. Detroit went to Baltimore 38-6. Are we dismissing the Lions? No. Wrong team at the wrong time. They walked into the buzzsaw. And quite frankly, some of us saw it coming.
The Miami Dolphins.
Contender. First off,
I'm sorry. Did you say contender? Because
I did.
Your mouth there went,
I did.
It's the radio medium, but on Twitch, we all caught that.
Mm-hmm. I did. I put my hand over my mouth. I did. Contender, the part that's being lost with the Dolphins is the fact that their defense now has held 3 opponents in a row to under 300 yards of offense. The defense is really coming together.
And then the Cowboys.
Oh, boy. I should say contender.
Cowboys are a contender.
Yeah, they're a contender. They are.
If you're going to name Jacksonville one after getting whipped by San Francisco, then you have to name Dallas one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Niners are the Cowboys' kryptonite, but this could, who knows? Maybe this is a year, like Federer not playing Nadal at the French. If the Cowboys can avoid the Niners, they can win the Super Bowl.
The Cowboys also mollywop bad teams.
And finally, San Francisco, who we think is definitely a contender. But that means, and I'm sorry, Seattle, 6-3. Are they a contender?
Not the way Geno's playing, no. Like, I would feel better if they were offensively playing they were last year. But I know they're 6-3, but no.
So of the 7 6-3 teams, Seattle and Pittsburgh are the only teams that you're saying are not contenders.
Well, but that's of the 6-3 teams. And obviously, you got Philly and Kansas City and Baltimore 7-3. And, so, if there are 7 6-3 teams and I think 5 are contenders, then you add what? There's 5 other teams to talk about? 4 other teams? Philly, Detroit, Baltimore, Kansas City. I mean, there's 4 we didn't mention right there.
Right. And do you think, is Cincinnati still a contender to you?
Yeah.
At 5-4.
Yes. Because if they get in, there's nobody they can't beat. But if you were to ask me right now, are the Bengals going to make the playoffs? Put it this way. I think Thursday will go a long way to determining whether or not the Bengals make the playoffs. They threw away a win on their schedule, Mark. Houston was a win on their schedule. They threw it away.
And their next 3 are at the Ravens on a short week, home for the Steelers, at the Jags on a Monday night.
By the way, it'll be Jacksonville's first Monday Night Football game in 12 years. You have no idea how big that game. I know Monday Night Football is not a thing for most everybody. They are going to be crazy in Jacksonville on December 4th. Crazy. 12 years since they've been on Monday Night Football. Almost to the day. I mean, they're treating this as if it's like this is their way of coming back into the NFL. We're being featured in prime time. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, the Bengals could find themselves in real problems here in the next couple of weeks.
I know. They have Joe Burrow, though. Yes, they're a contender. They have Joe Burrow.
And they could be 6-6 after 3 weeks and still be a contender because they could run the table from there.
Yeah, probably. I will say this about Jacksonville, though. I think they're 1-3 at home. They got to pick that up. One of the reasons I picked them to be the 1 seed was they were getting all these good teams at their place. Yeah, they ain't beating them.
All right, contender or pretender just for the playoffs, David? Let me run through Atlanta.
Of course.
Washington. I say no.
No. You know what, though? People in and around that team, they like Howell. They actually think that may be what comes out of this year. That, Rivera and everybody's getting fired. But that at the end of the season, they may have a young quarterback.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I think they have to be. The Jets.
No.
I'm with you. Denver.
No.
The Chargers.
No.
Indy.
Oh, boy. They're 5-5. Ah, they're a half game behind Houston. Yeah. Yeah. That division. Anything's possible.
That's why I still think the Chargers are a contender for a playoff spot, not for.
No, listen, come on. I have to accept my faults. You have to accept yours, okay? Give it up. Enough already. Man, you are going down with that ship.
Contender for a playoff spot is overzealous for the Chargers? I feel like that's reasonable.
No, it is. It's just that it's who you're talking about, okay?
You just told me Indianapolis is a contender for a playoff spot, and I'm supposed to say the Chargers aren't?
Listen, more disappointing on the world stage, France or the Chargers? Okay?
Chargers. Vegas?
Deep down, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think
really
this
don't.
is a phase, but no.
No chance. Buffalo.
Of course.
And Cincinnati, yes. Do you consider Houston a pretender?
No. They're the 7 seed right now. How can I consider them a pretender? Hell, they might win the South for all we know. They've already beaten Jacksonville once at their place. What happens if they return the favor in a few weeks? Don't they play in like 2 weeks in Houston?
So.
Yeah. I mean, could that game get flexed? Believe it or not, Monday Night Football seriously thought about flexing out of Chicago, Minnesota, I believe, for Houston, Jacksonville.
Well, if that's the case, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the Bears rate. And the Vikings are hot. Listen, people.
Someone should be. If you made that move, someone should be fired.
But remember, this was a couple of weeks ago when the Vikings, Cousins got hurt, and we thought the Vikings were going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I understand. The Bears are still going to rate better than the Jags Texans, no matter how bad the Bears are.
Yes, you and I both know that. Correct. But, networks sometimes get in the whole, hey, we got to show the best game. They thought they were going to be showing like 3-8 against 4-7. It's like, hey, we got to get out of this game. I mean, now the Vikings are hot. I mean, everybody is Josh Dobbs fever.
What a story.
It is. It's awesome. It is awesome. Hey, imagine if the Jets had traded for him. It's too easy. The fruit is so low hanging. You just can't help but pick it.
Well, and especially given the fact that Saleh just keeps, you got to give Saleh some credit for doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on this guy.
I feel so badly for him. Okay. His boss clearly is the one who drafted him second overall. He won't give up on him. Saleh's got no damn choice. His boss won't go out and get another quarterback who has a pulse. He's stuck with this guy. This guy may lead him into the unemployment line. He's stuck with him. He did say no comment to a question about him a week ago, though.
Michael Kay asked him about playing Simeon.
Trevor Simeon, yeah.
They asked him about playing Simeon, and he paused, and he had nothing.
Yep, nothing.
And there's 6 seconds of dead air, and he says, "You kind of got me there. No comment."
No comment. Which there's your 6 seconds of truth right there. Robert Saleh would rather play Mark Miller than Zach Wilson. That's it, right there. So no, and no.
But one of these teams, and I'm telling you now, David, whether it's Minnesota coming on, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's Indianapolis, there's going to be a team that's going to hang around because of schedule, and there have been a lot of underperforming teams thus far.
There are, and underperforming quote-unquote good teams. Cincinnati and Buffalo are out today. They're out, for goodness sakes.
Do you guys think there's any contenders to win the Super Bowl that won't win their division?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
AFC North?
Sure. Quite possibly.
I think Dallas, if they don't win the division, they just got to get the right matchups. Dallas doesn't match up with San Francisco. If they avoid the Niners, who knows what happens? But other than that, I think it's going to be division winners because Kansas City's going to be the 1 seed again. They didn't play and had such a terrific bye week.
Yeah. The NFC West, it was, the last couple of years, that was the division you looked at for that question. But this year, I don't think that's the case.
Trent, I'm on record, and could be very wrong, but I'm on record as saying I think anybody who makes the playoffs in the AFC this year can go to the Super Bowl. That's what I thought all offseason. And right before the season started, I said that everybody who's going to make the playoffs in the AFC is going to have double-digit wins, and any one of them can win the games necessary to get to Vegas. Now, I could turn out to be wrong.
No, I think that's a fair take.
Well,
it's only 7 teams. You can say there's 7 contenders in the conference.
But I thought Pittsburgh was going to be better offensively than they are. It's tough to see them winning 3 games. Do I think that defense could beat anybody? Yes. 3 playoff wins, that's tough to see. Also, Houston's the 7th seed right now.
And unless we see a lot out of the Browns, David, unless we see a lot out of Watson between now and then, they've got to show more offensively for them to be a true contender to win 3 games as well. We'll break down all of this and look back at Week 10 with Pat Kirwan. He's next on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd rolled out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning. Bills fans are losing their minds right now.
Oh, yeah. And I got a bunch of them that work at West Bay.
Oh, I know.
And those guys I think they all went up to the game. I'm canceling golf for tomorrow just because I don't feel like talking to them for an hour of misery. Yeah, those guys. They have a little bit of a club, Mark, where they kind of go out whenever there's a a Bills game on Monday or Thursday night. They go to some bar in Fort Myers. And they always ask me to go. And I go, I can't really. I'm too busy with stuff. But I fear going with you guys and the Bills lose. I have to deal with that. They take it personally. And you know what? they're waiting to lose those guys. I think they were all scarred as little children when they went to all those Super Bowls and never won.
I'm telling you, you're right. This friend of mine, she's actually, and she knows her football a little bit. She's a diehard Bills fan. I better wake up to both coaches being blanking fired. Season's over. We are horrible. The joys of being a Bills fan. The feeling is all too familiar.
Yes.
David and I's friend, David's a better friend of them, sent David a video last night of him walking out of the garage, grabbing the Bills flag that he flies outside his house, throwing it on the ground and going back inside and shutting the garage door.
Hey, there's a lot of ways at the end to embarrass yourself, but 12 on the field.
12 on the field.
Oh.
Coming out of a timeout, if you know what I mean. I mean, they called the timeout. That's, come on, you line them up. We know what's going to happen. They're going to kneel. They're going to run out and do the fire drill. We got to run out and do ours. Come on.
There's nothing better than a 12-man rush on a field goal.
Nope. I will say the officials made a mistake. They're actually supposed to stop the play before the snap, for whatever reason. So he never should have missed the kick. The snap never should have happened.
Yeah, but they still penalize him for 12.
Correct.
You just don't want to get anybody hurt or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But, for Sean McDermott, you think it's bad enough that these guys have a shot at beating you, and then that's how you lose?
Well, also, he has to answer to the back-to-back zero blitzes.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is his call.
Totally. The first one, he got him, but to come back after a timeout and line up and do it again, you're not going to get him on a second one. Plus, you're playing your 6th and 7th DBs because of injury. I mean, Hamlin's out on the field, for goodness sakes. They don't want him out on the field.
No, they want to get to the end of the season and give him a
get
front
rid of
office
him.
job.
Right. Okay.
Scouting.
So in the zero blitz, he's covering the tight end Troutman one-on-one. That's where I thought they were going to go.
Yeah. Oh, you want to have a good laugh, Mark? So I was running a little poll of who if you had to vote for Coach of the Year right now, who would you vote for? D'Amico Ryans was leading, and Dan Campbell was second. Mike Tomlin was third because he's winning without an offense, but the fourth was my favorite, Antonio Pierce. One guy just kept writing it, and he goes, it's Antonio Pierce, the coach with the earring, the guy who wins with the same guys the other guy couldn't win with.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's that day and time again for Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Top of the morning to you, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing great. And, we're getting ready for next week. Is going to be another good week. Next week's division week. So we'll get to that on Friday. There's an awful lot of division games. But we had all the, I guess guys call it late heroics, but games that came down to the wire. The NFL still knows how to put a product out there that the fan base is addicted to. Plenty of games at the end. So we love that. And love what Antonio Pierce is doing. And I loved his quote, "I'm not stupid. I'm going to get the ball in the hands of my two best players." And that's what he does. He keeps it pretty simple. He's a player who's thinking like a coach now. It's like, let me give it to the running back and to that receiver. We'll see what happens after that.
Seems kind of, Pat, this seems kind of obvious. I know it's not that easy, but what has he done differently than McDaniel to basically get Devontae Adams the ball that they weren't doing for the entire season?
He's making him the first read and throwing the ball to him. And he was pretty clear about it too. He goes, the two top guys are getting the ball. And that means we're going to run the ball. Even if we're having a hard time running for yardage, we're just going to keep giving it to him. And off that, we're going to find the big Devontae over the middle. So it's so simple, but it's the old Marty Schottenheimer rule, which we've all quoted 100 times. Don't think of plays. Now think about that. There was Josh, 1,000,000 plays on a card. Don't think of plays, think of players. Marty said it 1,000,000 times. And that's really all Antonio Pierce is doing, thinking like Marty Schottenheimer.
Well, and this is difficult for me to explain because I just don't know enough about football. But like Garoppolo is really a 3-step drop. And when his back foot hits the ground, he wants to get rid of the ball. Devontae runs longer routes. He's not a quick receiver. So Jimmy would look at Devontae every play. Devontae was still running his route. So Jimmy would go elsewhere. And then Devontae would make his move and be open, and Jimmy's already getting rid of the ball somewhere else. Clearly, Aiden O'Connell here, he knows, I'm going to have to wait till Devontae's done. And when he's done, he'll be open.
Well, I've said it about this guy, Aiden O'Connell, a number of times after I saw them scrimmage the 49ers. He's not Tom Brady, but he has Tom Brady traits. He's a pocket guy who will slide one gap over, reset and throw, slide the other. He's got that kind of mentality, and he can afford to wait because he has a little bit of niftiness. He can't run worth a lick, but he can move around. And so he's an accurate thrower. So they found a guy that will do what he's told. And Jimmy had so many injury fears, I think. He got hurt and hit so many times. Aiden doesn't have those fears. He may get blasted in his pocket, but I don't know, fellas. We've been talking for, 20 years? Did we ever say in any of those 20 years that Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen all lost on the same weekend?
And a lot of them at home.
Let's talk about Trevor and their loss. San Francisco, it's just a matter of everybody's healthy, and when that happens and you add the defender with Young there, I mean, they're right back to who they were, aren't they, Pat?
Yeah, I think we may look back on the 3 straight losses at 17 points per and think maybe it was the best thing that happened to them. But they had a bye week. They figured it out. The quarterback returned to who he is, and they've got weapons. And, Debo might be more valuable than we give him credit for. We all think he's pretty good, but when he's on the football field, they're a different team.
If you listen to Kyle Shanahan talk about Debo, he makes it sound like he's the most important player in the locker room. I mean, that's how important Debo is.
So does Purdy, for that matter.
Yeah, well, and he should, for that matter. Hey, getting back to the Raiders coach, is there something to, basically the significance of the room, the significance of just managing the team? Mike Tomlin obviously knows X's and O's. He was a position coach before he was a head coach. But Mike Tomlin's going to go into the Hall of Fame because Mike Tomlin can manage the room. He's a leader of men. Pat, don't you think that teams, when they're hiring coaches, need to say there's nothing more important in a head coach than being a leader of men?
Absolutely true. The problem in the world of interviews is you can't evaluate that component unless they have some form of history of it. You really have to take a guess at that, because until they're in the room in front of the 53 men, you can't really determine that. And you can't really, as players would say to me, you can't determine it until it's halftime of a losing game. And I've said that many times on this show, because the players don't believe he's a leader of men until he leads them out of a problem. And when they believe in him and they follow through. So I was saying before we went on the air, just profiling the guys I think could be coach of the year. Let's talk about the 4 guys that got the votes and ask me, is there a guy that's not a leader of men? D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, and as I said to Mark, to tell him how crazy life is, someone said Antonio Pierce. Pierce is a player. He was a roughneck player. We know he had some issues. He was with Plaxico Burress in New York City that night and all that business. But you don't know if a guy can stand in front of the room. You think you know. Apparently, the Dolphins couldn't determine if Dan Campbell was that guy. And he stood in front of the Dolphins and led them. But they didn't think he was good enough because I think owners gravitate to other things. Like, I wonder what he's going to look like in front of the media. That's what they think about. I wonder if I can sell this guy to the media. I wonder if my fan base is going to like this guy. I wonder if he's coming from a winning team. They make the decision, there's no really great coaches I can hire if they're coaching on a bad team. So it's an interesting reality of measuring leadership. I don't think they know how to do it, and I don't think they can do it. You're going to have some gut instinct on that.
Well, okay, if I could just throw this out there then. If you're Robert Kraft, and Pat, listen, besides the fact that the coach is Belichick, you're not a fan of getting rid of coaches during the season. But if Kraft's trying to figure out whether or not Gerard Mayo is the guy to replace Belichick, shouldn't he give him a 7-game trial?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't think Bob wants to have the reputation of firing his Hall of Fame coach in the middle of the season. And by the way, unlike D'Amico, they knew Dan Campbell. They didn't know him. They didn't know Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. He was a 1-year coordinator in Minnesota. But you know what? Mr. Rooney should write the book on how to identify leadership. The only guys he's ever hired are guys that can stand in front of the room and lead. And so I don't think they have to put Gerard in charge of the football team to decide if he can do it. They should know something about him by now. And I know Bob Kraft, and the Twins told me this. Bob used to like to sit in the back of the room in the defensive room. So he's watched Mayo stand in front of the football team and certainly stand in front of the defense and operate the way he does. But
who are you more?
Go ahead.
Oh, who are you more concerned with right now, the Bengals or the Bills?
Well, both of them, because Cincinnati's 1-4 in the conference, and now you got the Buffalo Bills that are 2-5 in the conference. The expectations for both were extremely high, and so what's going on, like last night, 12 on the field, those kind of things. Cincinnati's getting beat up with the pass rushers are hurting now. Most concerned of those two, Buffalo. Why? Because after they destroyed Miami, I think we all thought they were coasting right into the Final Four. And they may not make anything now.
Do you think the head coach is too much on his plate? He took over the defense. There's lots of talk that he's got his fingerprints all over Dorsey's, game plans. He's basically got final say on personnel because he handpicked the GM. I mean, do you think that maybe he's just got too much on his plate?
It looks that way. And the quarterback has not improved. He's still a great player, but he continues to make some of the same mistakes. Yeah, I think Sean, now, maybe, but the question goes back at you, David. Maybe all these losses late in the postseason in a row have caused him to keep piling on more stuff. When he wanted to fix any of the problems he's had over the last 3 years, he's taken on the ability to do it himself. And I can respect that. It happened to me. And I remember as I went up the ladder, I never put anyone in place behind me for the jobs I did do. And at the end, I was doing all the jobs I used to do, plus the job I was doing, and I got myself overwhelmed with it. So I can respect how that can happen to someone.
Is Josh Allen a great player, Pat? I mean, you said he's great. Is he? Are you sure?
Yes.
A lot of turnovers, and they're not slowing down.
No, he's John Elway when John was young and John got fixed with Mike Shanahan. He's a reckless cowboy, and he's got every skill you'd ever want, and he's got them all, and it's important to him. And I would like to see someone really coaching that guy. Put a little bit of a thumb on him and harness the energy. But I think he's a great player.
Well, in Buffalo, for whatever it's worth, they think that guy was Daboll. And so
Yeah,
now the guy getting blamed is Ken Dorsey, saying he's no Brian Dable. That Dable not only had the X's and O's, but that basically, Josh Allen is a bigger Favre. And, Favre got reined in by Holmgren. Then when Holmgren left, Favre went off the reservation again for a while until he was brought back in. Do you think that's what's going on here? We got 30 seconds.
Yeah, as I said, whether you want to say Favre or Elway, to me, he's got Elway traits physically, and he can get into the undisciplined realm. And I think as they lose, he's going to try to be more undisciplined because he thinks he has to. He won't call it undisciplined. He's going to call it attempt to help this team.
He's Pat Kirwan, and he joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. More with Pat from NFL's Radio Moving the Chains and CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show, coming up on the other side. Angelique Chengelis to talk what's going on in Ann Arbor in 25 minutes as well. That's all still ahead right here. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd rolled out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ba-dum. Are you in Buffalo? Oh, you're in Buffalo still, David, right?
Yeah, he is.
It's so funny, David, when you're in hotels in some of the finer cities in this country on Tuesday morning, the hotel room always looks really nice. In Buffalo, it looks just like I thought Buffalo Hotel would look like. There's nothing on the walls behind you. Nothing. There's just like a blank cylinder.
No, and it's funny when he got on yesterday morning, Pat, that lamp in the corner, I literally thought was a piece of paper taped to something. That's
so if you asked me, what do you think that is behind him? I would have said he taped his notes on the wall.
That's what I literally thought. It's what it looked like. I'm like, is that a lamp?
I'm looking over there going, why did he tape that stuff on the wall? Look at that.
Oh, turn it
down.
Turn it off.
Only in Buffalo they light the ceiling. Oh, I would have never guessed lamp. I'm looking at that room. Like last week, I kept saying, "Boy, that's nice colors in that room." He had drapes hanging down; they look like they were worth $100,000. And then I look in this one, I go,
Buffalo.
"Oh boy,
Yeah, it's the Westin in downtown Buffalo. That's exactly what you'd think. I will say the widest hallways I've ever seen. Rooms are spacious, clean, very basic though.
Yeah, well,
A lot of light brown.
exactly. And but the reason for the wide halls is the fan base. Did you ever see how wide they are?
No doubt about it. We were walking into the stadium, and
every Bills fan was a lineman.
I felt skinny in Buffalo. There's no doubt about it.
It's Pittsburgh and Buffalo. The fans are all tackles and guards.
Yeah, you got a little.
Well, in Pittsburgh, they all look like Cowher too. Every one of them has a goatee and dark hair.
I would throw Green Bay in that conversation as well.
Yeah, Green Bay, for sure.
But for them, it's not really their fault.
I will say the Bills parking lot smelled great. It's not the Kansas City parking lot, but the Bills parking lot smelled really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've been there since Thursday.
Yeah, and it gets dark early this time of year, and they were there in the dark cooking up their brats and what have you.
Oh, they live it right. We were on the bus coming from the airport to a hotel. I'm sitting with Pete. And Pete turns to me and goes, "Hey, if you ever move on to another team, here's the only rule I want you to follow. Don't go to any team where the fans wear hunting clothes to the games." And Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Green Bay are definitely the teams where they wear that orange and
I was going to say,
camouflage.
we're going the 23rd because I'm going up to Pittsburgh for Christmas, and my son and I are going to the Steelers-Bengals game, and he said to me, he goes, "Dad," because he lives in North Carolina, he's like, "The only thing I've got is my camo coat." I go, "You'll be fine with that."
Yeah, you'll blend right in.
Wear the camo. What?
That's the truth.
You see a few people wearing that at Browns games because of the color match, but yes. Yep.
That's not a hunting city. But
no,
Green Bay
definitely
is,
not.
and
Yep.
Buffalo is absolutely.
Yes.
I'm surprised there weren't deer on the hoods of some of the trucks in the parking lot.
What David was smelling, he just didn't realize it.
Right. It was venison.
That's it. I wish they'd come to my house and shoot them. Holy crap, do we got a lot of them. Oh, God, it's so good. They have CJ Stroud fever. I got a text today from a guy down in Houston that I used to listen to the show. He says he listens all the time still, but the thing had to be 1,000 words. He just kept writing about how much this has changed the city.
Also shows you how important football is there, because the Astros have been wildly successful for a decade, but they need the football team to be good.
Yeah. And they're going to be good for a long time now.
All right, here we go.
This kid's awesome.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturdays. Then Sundays, he helps produce CBS's NFL Today show. CBS has the Super Bowl this year, so Pat will be out in Vegas. He joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Hey, you did the Marty Schottenheimer, think, players, not plays. Do you think in a copycat league, whether it's Antonio Pierce, whether it's Josh Dobbs, that maybe people will realize, hey, maybe we're overthinking this. Maybe, there's different ways to win.
I think so, but I think when you come in the middle of a season, the expectations are zero, and they're just trying to rally the troops. And you hire a guy that you would never hire if he had to go through the process. Would Pierce ever even get an interview if the job was officially opened at the end of a season? Probably not. I don't think he would. But when you put him in the middle, like Dan Campbell was in Miami, like Pierce is now, you just hope that the guy can keep it together and keep the morale up. And then you find out they've got great instincts for coaching. Now, it's a long way until they win enough games for me to think they're successful. But I think when you're in the middle, you're kind of like a coach at halftime of a losing game. No one's going in at halftime of a losing game and adding 100 plays. They're all knocking stuff out. Let's get back to the basics. I've heard this speech 1,000 times. Let's just do a couple of things better. And so I think the same thing happens when you hire a guy, these kind of guys. So I hope they look at this. Now, he might be the beneficiary of the Rich Bisaccia mistake, because Rich had to do it and he did it, and he kept it simple. And I think the message is also this: when you come in the middle of the season, you basically tell the players, no offense, guys, but the coach is gone, so the only one left to blame is you. So you better start playing your fannies off.
What do you make of the Ravens? You know, we were anointing them the best team in the league a week ago. They weren't able to close it against Cleveland. They have some tremendous wins this year, but every one of their losses should have been a win. Do they have a problem closing games out, closing close games out, Pat?
Well, they might. I mean, but a week ago, Mark, we talked about the 49ers that way, because a month ago I said the 49ers were the best team in the league. They go on a 3-game losing streak, and I look like I don't know what I'm talking about. And now Baltimore has a loss. They are just 4-3 in the conference. So they're vulnerable. And where does their might come from? In those NFC games, they crush everybody. When they play their own division, it's a whole different story, especially with Pittsburgh, who he has a losing record against. So maybe it's the guys, and it's all the way to the Super Bowl. You got to get through the AFC, and some of those teams have seen Lamar enough to know how to harness him. But I don't think they're bad. I think they're quite good. I just think they're the second best team in the AFC. KC will be like, there's too many guys that know what it takes to win down the road. Baltimore will be fine, but guess what? They can still lose the division. The Pittsburgh Maniacs think they're going to win the division. Now, we don't think so. I don't believe the three of us do, because their offense is limited. But they got to win over Baltimore, and they are sitting there with a 4-2 conference record.
Do you think, though, that this could catapult the Browns? They haven't had a win like this since they beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And now they got it, and it was in part because of Deshaun. He looked like Deshaun. All right. It's now really his team. He went and beat the hated Ravens on the road. I mean, that defense, Pat, that's top 3 in the league. That sucker shows up every week. There's no reason, quite frankly, there's no team the Browns can't beat.
I agree with that. Now, Dr. Chow, yesterday, we talked about Deshaun's ankle, and he said, I looked at it closely. It's a high ankle sprain. And yeah, he can finish the game on adrenaline, but he might be in a situation that he can't even play this week. And no one wants to hear that because they haven't heard it yet. But I trust Dr. Chow. He goes, high ankle sprain, that's what it really is, no matter what they tell you. He had a boot on. We'll see. If he's there, yeah, they can be the team you just described. If he's there and he can't run, that's a different story. So we'll see. The vulnerability of the quarterback's health is an issue there.
Boy, and Mark, of all the games for him to miss, if he were to miss one game because of the ankle sprain, it's a home game against the Steelers. Oh, man.
Well, and we usually don't look ahead until Friday, Pat, but because Thursday we've got such a game, both these teams coming off a loss now with the Bengals and Ravens. These divisional games, you mentioned it before we started, this is a monster week coming up in the NFL.
It is a monster week, and I don't know that they're going to have their pass. I don't think the 2 pass rushers from Cincinnati are going to be available. And if that's the case, I think, and I love good teams off a loss. I try to always pick them, and I think I'd be picking Baltimore in this one just off what just happened to them, for them to right in the ship and get going here. So I like Baltimore a lot in that game.
C.J. Stroud.
Love him.
Wow. Rookie doing this. And he did it the first part of the season. He was down 4 offensive linemen, Pat. He was playing a good football, not turning it over. Both their tackles were out for 3 straight games. Their guards were out for a month. I mean, this is a rookie quarterback.
So is he going to be, and we have so many historical memories, but Is he going to land up being the greatest rookie quarterback to ever play? Is he going to bust up so many numbers that we're going to have to accept that he is? All I know one thing is if you work for S2, go get a resume because no one's buying that test anymore.
Well, we've always made the jokes about Tua that he finally had receivers comparable to what he had in college. CJ Stroud's dealing with guys that he's making players better. He
is. It's fun to watch. I get a lot of interest from the Houston Texan fan base that follow the show. So they never forgave Deshaun Watson for how that thing fell apart at the end and all the things that went on. And they thought they were going to be set back for 10 years. And they found this kid, and the rest is history. So, yeah, I don't know. Is he going to be the rookie of the year? I think that's almost impossible for him not to be the rookie of the year. Is he going to be in the Pro Bowl, which is now a dodgeball? Yeah, he's got it all. He's doing it all. And now I talked to Cesario 2 weeks ago. They know the foundation's set. They now can go out and build the roster for the next 4 years. They're going to be a problem for everybody. And it's going to start with Jacksonville this year.
Well, and you took me to where I wanted to go. Detroit went to Baltimore and got shellacked, and we didn't bail on the Lions. Jacksonville had won 5 in a row. Then they get shellacked by the Niners, and people now are saying, oh, Jacksonville's a fraud. Couldn't it just be that was the wrong team to face at the wrong time?
Sure. And then right after they destroyed Detroit, Baltimore then destroyed Seattle the exact same way. But we've talked about that 100 times. These NFC teams don't see Lamar, and they can't control him. Right now, if you look at, you just mentioned 5 in a row. There's only one team in the NFL that's won 5 in a row, Minnesota. And man, is Minnesota in great shape. 6-2 in the conference. The guys behind them, no one has a winning record in the 8, 9, and 10 slots. I thought 2 weeks ago Minnesota could never hold on to a playoff spot. Right now, they look like they're fortified. They've got 6 wins, and they've got a 5-game winning streak. They're rushing the passer, and Dobbs, for as many things as we want to say about C.J. Stroud, how about Dobbs?
Well, and Mark, it's a little thing, but you can tell if you spend any time around them, those guys love playing for that coach. They do. Okay, yeah. The GM, there may be some questions about, not the coach in Minnesota. He's a good one.
Yeah. A month ago, did any of us think they were going anywhere?
No, well, not when Cousins got hurt. No, absolutely not.
And how about how many teams should have gone after Dobbs? The brilliance of going to get that guy. That says something. Jets.
Yeah, no kidding.
No doubt there. Pat, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk with you on Friday.
Very good, fellas. Have a great week.
Pat Kirwan.
NFL Radio is moving the chain. CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show, and Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West, where you cannot fake fresh.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA-certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Remember, you're calling Angelique here. And then I think by tomorrow, because the two shows around Christmas, the 21st or the 22nd, that Friday, and the 26th, I will not be in studio. So I'll start showing you how to set this up.
Okay. Sounds good.
It's really easy.
We'll get through it, as we always do.
It's really easy.
Okay, sounds good. Is C.J. Stroud already the best Ohio State NFL quarterback?
Yes, we do use StreamYard, Coach Grizzle. I don't think so, Logic Man. I don't think Mac Jones can play. Hard to tell when he has no weapons and nobody to throw the ball to, but
Do you know who's really high on Mac Jones? Kyle Shanahan.
Remember when they were going to take him third overall? They might as well have, though.
Well, he has said it came down to Trey Lance or Mac Jones. And we chose Trey because we thought he was more mobile, and we were wrong.
do you know the best part about a terrible towel?
What?
If you spill beer or drink or anything, you've got a really big napkin. Okay. I really ticked off Eve when she made me bring one to the game, and I put it in my back pocket and I used it as a napkin. And said, these things really come in handy.
Angelique is ready to rock.
I figured that guest would impress you.
Very energetic off the rip.
She's great.
I just figured the subject matter. You know.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this one.
I just worry now that, the one time every 10 years we get Izzo, we'll get him with Trent, and Trent won't know how to act.
Yeah, I know. Golly.
What a time learning how to do pressers and ask questions than with, Tom Izzo. What better way than to learn how to do that in college? Gosh, I was shaking every time I had to talk to him. Looks like he's just going to rip you apart. 10 seconds.
We had him on before they played FGCU one year. He just walked out of practice. He said, the way we practice today, we'll lose by 20 tomorrow.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It is the last segment of the network. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour. Angelique Chengelis, one of our favorites, covers the Michigan Wolverines for the Detroit News. She's kind enough to join us once again. You can follow Angelique on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Angelique, it's David and Mark. We know you're busy. We hope you're well. How are you?
Oh, I don't know why you think I'm busy. There's nothing going on up here. Nothing. Pretty boring.
Yeah, we figured we'd just have you on to preview the Maryland game, Angelique.
Right.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, my gosh. It's been absolutely crazy. I mean, I landed in State College about 3 minutes before the team did. I could see their buses on the tarmac and, assumed that the news from the Big Ten would be breaking about that time. And it was, and pretty crazy a couple days at Penn State, that's for sure.
Looking back, how surprised were you that they waited until Friday, that they did this as a news dump? To us, the timing was off, no matter how you think of the story. How was it to you?
It was, I had a couple different thoughts, and I had like 3 different stories written and ready to go because I knew I'd be flying. And one of them was obviously suspension. The other and it was the vibe I was getting from people I was talking to at the Big Ten, people involved in this on the Michigan side, is that the Big Ten would wait until Monday. And, if you read through the Big Ten documents, the response, whatever you were calling it on Friday, they try to pin it on the Michigan and Harbaugh lawyers that they asked for the additional 24 hours, which took them to Wednesday at 5 when they filed their response to the Big Ten. And then that gives the Big Ten all day Thursday, and Friday was Veterans Day. I mean, the courts are closed. So there are emergency judges available, obviously, when there's a temporary restraining order, which is what Michigan and Harbaugh lawyers were seeking. But it was really, I don't know what to say. I mean, I understand where the Big Ten's coming from, but they've talked about not damaging the players in this. And I think it was a little, it frazzled them a little bit. They certainly got it together, but finding out that their coach is suspended as soon as they land in Penn State, and then just a couple hours before kickoff, finding out that the temporary restraining order was not being ruled on. I think you could argue that was not beneficial to the players, but it was just crazy timing. I really thought they would wait until Monday.
Angelique, is there anyone in your neck of the woods that's quietly saying, listen, all things considered, okay, he misses maybe 3 games, but he gets to coach them 6 out of the 7 days a week. I mean, they're not touching the team. They're not taking wins away. They're not making them ineligible for the Big Ten championship. I mean, as punishments go, this may look and sound bad, but it's actually not that bad.
It really isn't severe, but I think what people are hanging on is that reportedly, and I haven't confirmed this, Yahoo Sports, who broke the story initially last month, has reported that the NCAA in its investigation has not found a link between Harbaugh and Connor Stalions knowing it. The Big Ten says that too, and I think what has irked Michigan lawyers, Jim Harbaugh lawyers, is that the Big Ten does not have a head coach responsibility rule, as the NCAA does. And they have, when you read their rules, they don't punish an individual. They can punish the institution. So then why are you punishing Jim Harbaugh? Is he actually the institution? So there's all the semantics and all the different arguments. But yeah, I mean, in terms of punishments, every coach wants to be on the sideline. Harbaugh's already missed 3 games at the start of the season for a self-imposed investigation, a suspension for a previous unresolved NCAA investigation. I think, though, that they are finding the fan base, the team, whoever is involved in this, completely galvanized by this now. So you're going to keep hearing about it, because I mean, they just sold Michigan versus everybody shirts for NIL. They made $55,000 in I think 48 hours selling those shirts. So everyone's rallying, everyone's feeling good about this, and in the end, yeah, I guess you could argue, but I mean, I kind of want to see him on the sideline for the Ohio State game. I mean, I think it's going to be a really interesting game on every level, but certainly the interaction with Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh is something I don't want to miss.
No doubt. It's always better with Harbaugh on the sidelines. And Angelique, that's what I'm wondering as we come to Friday and they try to get this temporary restraining order. What, if anything, are you hearing on the odds of them having success with that?
Well, I've talked to a couple of people about this, sports lawyers, and this is, I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but it's a preliminary injunction. And the temporary restraining order, I think, was always a long shot because that is for emergency situations. I'm not sure you could say that this was technically an emergency situation that a football coach gets to coach. But the vibe is that they have an argument, that the Michigan and Harbaugh lawyers have an argument that there was, maybe irreparable damage might be a stretch, but that the Big Ten reacted hastily, that they did not spend enough time on this, and that Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, really succumbed to the anger of the Big Ten coaches and the athletic directors who spoke to him separately on 2 different video calls. And I think that's what they're going to argue. And the individuals I've spoken to, the lawyers I've spoken to, think that they have a good shot. But nothing's guaranteed, obviously, and it's going to be in Ann Arbor, and in Ann Arbor court. Maybe they get a little bit of hometown justice, I guess you could call it. But I think it's really interesting. I think Harbaugh Monday at his news conference, initially thought that he would be testifying, but then he went back and thought, well, I'm not sure, and I don't think we're going to hear from those individuals like Harbaugh and Petitti. I think this is going to be just the lawyers talking, and I think that's probably best. That's what the judge wants to hear, not all the emotional conversations that he may hear from Harbaugh and the commissioner. So it's I don't know, but they seem to think that Michigan has a good case here.
Angelique Chengelis covers the Michigan Wolverines for the Detroit News. Follow Angelique on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Angelique, help me out here. I thought, it must be 5 weeks ago now, I thought that Michigan acknowledged that if what Stallions did is true, it was cheating, but that they were unaware of it. But I thought they acknowledged that it was cheating. And don't you think that is why the rest of the conference is so up in arms? It's not that it's Michigan, and it's not that it's really good, but they think this is cheating.
I don't know if Michigan said that. I mean, Harbaugh in his statement, they've been very tight-lipped. I mean, they really haven't issued much, mostly angry. I mean, Ward Manuel came out Saturday with a very fiery statement, but Harbaugh in his statement initially, October 20th, or maybe it was the 19th, said that, he doesn't know of any cheating. He certainly didn't order anybody to do anything. But, I mean, when you look at the rules, that is cheating, what Connor Stallions did, whether or not Michigan admits to that. Now, I mean, in the other investigation, Michigan has admitted to the impermissible recruiting visits. And Harbaugh's still dealing with a level 1 violation for misleading the investigators. But I mean, I think that the Big Ten coaches, my understanding from people who were on that call, is that they got extremely emotional, and they were saying that this, like one coach said, he wouldn't have lost by such a big margin if they had not had their signs, and and maybe he wouldn't be dealing with the hot seat if that were the case. And I'm not sure that they would have played a tighter game. I'm not going to identify the coach, but maybe you could figure it out. And I think that that's what they're all talking about. And look, I think it's also understood, and you've seen a lot of articles where coaches just say, "Yeah, we all exchange ideas. They call each other and give each other some, hey, when they do this is what they're going to be doing." There is that exchange, and then if you want to go by the letter of the law, well, is that illegal? Is that impermissible? That's coming from another scout. You are not scouting that in game. You're getting that information from other individuals. So is that technically cheating? I guess, but now I don't think Michigan has actually admitted that. But look, the Big Ten. Someone I was talking to Sunday from the Big Ten said they know that Connor Stalions, what he did, they have the goods. But the individuals I spoke to said they really don't think Jim Harbaugh knew, and that's what the source story in Yahoo says from the NCAA, that they haven't found a connection with Jim Harbaugh. So that's what he's out there defending, and that's what Michigan's defending at this time.
I find it amazing, Angelique, that Michigan's had been in trouble twice this year.
Mm-hmm.
For a school that's really never gets in trouble. And to me, if Harbaugh wasn't suspended these last 3 games, I think there might be more eyeballs at Harbaugh inside Michigan's world. But now the president's on his side. Now the fans are on his side. Jim Harbaugh had the audacity to say we're America's team after being accused of cheating, and the Michigan fan buys every bit of it. I mean, you've mentioned it twice. This has really galvanized them. I don't know if it'll help as much for the Ohio State game without him on the bench, but it has certainly transformed the way not just the team feels, but everybody around the program feels now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really crazy. I mean, they walked into the team after they landed from State College, went to Yost for the hockey game, and the crowd's cheating, free Jim Harbaugh, and then an expletive, Tony Bakiti. So, I mean, he's soaking this up. I mean, Sherrone Moore was a little bit over the top in his post-game interview on television, and his tears and his expletives as well. And it's been crazy. And yes, Michigan has really changed the narrative here, I think, and masterfully so, really, when you look at it. I mean, this NIL deal, they had already been selling these Michigan versus everybody shirts. And then, boom, they started pushing them as soon as this happened. And as I said, 55,000 sales in 48 hours. And look, I mean, they've also had the Matt Weiss incident before they got the notice of, shortly after they got the draft of the notice of allegations in January. He's fired for alleged computer hacking, I guess is the easiest way to term it, and that has not been determined. And then in May, Harbaugh hires Shemi Schembechler, and then it's uncovered that his Twitter, or Twix, as you say, I think it was still Twitter then, it's full of really hateful messages and liking and retweeting things. And then he's fired a couple days after he's hired. So there have been a lot of instances of stuff that you scratch your head and like, what's going on here? But to your point, yes, I mean, it's amazing how it's turned, and Harbaugh definitely has the support of the president, Santa Ono. Now, I think his message a couple nights ago was, again, I think someone needs to curb what he tweets. I think he went a little over his skis and sort of suggested that this was like a tragedy. And I think people correctly pointed out, no one died here. This is a football coach who was suspended. So, and I don't think the lawyers who represent Michigan and Harbaugh need that. I mean, there's another lawyer at Michigan who's sending out I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly, amicus brief, and that he's filing in support of Jim Harbaugh and trying to get signatures of Michigan alums. And I don't think this actually helps the legal case. So I think that the lawyers would actually really like people to slow down on this support, because they don't want the judge to be swayed by this. This does not establish irreparable harm when you see a fan base that is galvanized, as Jim Harbaugh described, and a team that is galvanized.
All right, got about 90 seconds. Need to cover 2 quick things. Is Sherrone Moore going to run for Senate after that post game? I mean, honestly, his life is now set after that post game interview, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I do think there are people who are critical of it. I mean, as I said, I think it was over the top. But right. he is the acting head coach the next 2 games if Harbaugh's not there, and I think that says a lot.
The health of the quarterback in all seriousness going forward.
He's good. I mean, he was limping at the end of the game, and after the post game, he was walking out, and I mentioned that to him, and he said, yeah, I was limping, but I'm good. And he was jumping up and down on the field after they won the game, so I'm like, well, I guess he's fine. But it was not a shoulder issue why they went 32 straight runs. It was strategy. So he was good.
Okay.
Health-wise.
Angelique Chengelis covering the Michigan Wolverines. Absolutely nothing going on her beat. That's why she has time to join us while representing the Detroit News. You can follow her on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Well, try to kill some time this week, and maybe we'll talk down the road.
Yeah, I'm going to go to court Friday, then to Maryland. Hey, have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too,
Safe
Angelique.
travels,
Thank you so
you
much.
too. Angelique Chengelis joining us on Miller and Moulton.
Going to court on Friday, because that's what you thought you were doing when you had the
Totally.
Michigan beat for 2 decades. I'll be in
Right.
court on Friday to see if they can get a temporary restraining order so that the Michigan head coach can be on the sidelines against Maryland. Miller and Moulton. Along the network, we thank you so much for listening. In the 239, the bonus hour, brought to you by the Diamond District, is next.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
With a tracking number ending in 8759. Did you want to check on that shipment?
Yes.
Oh, I'm like, what is that? Someone's
That
phone.
threw me
I thought it was your phone, Trent. By the way, Michigan has to go to the playoff.
Oh,
It's scheduled to
I
be
Has
know.
to.
I know for the narrative, but I can't have it.
I need it so badly.
I can't have that.
30
Oh,
a.m.
they can lose to Georgia again. It'll be great.
p.m.
I know, but I don't even want them to
That
get
a
that
signature
far.
is not required for
I hate Ohio State just as much as anybody. I hope they get that moment. They deserve that moment. Ohio State deserves that moment. Crush them in the big house and come down swiftly with that hammer.
Trent, that's it. Is that a new cut? Do you cut your own hair?
I do not, but I should. I might as well.
Okay, so you just go get it.
Tight.
Yeah, number.
They always ask me if I'm in military. I'm
number
like, nope.
2, number 1, and just cut it, huh?
Yep. No blade all the way up.
Should wear a jacket in the cold. You wouldn't get the sniffles.
I did wear a jacket. Are you kidding?
Hey,
it was 30 degrees in Kansas City. It was 30 something here yesterday. Oh, I was bundled. I had layers and long sleeves and pants and socks and everything. Oh no. I've needed more rest though. I have to admit, I did not get good rest on this trip. That hasn't helped.
So it sounds like at 12, what flight leaves at noon?
Uh-huh.
At 11:47, you'll be about out.
If everyone's in my row, because I'm on the aisle, yeah, boom, done. There's no way I see take off of this flight. No way.
That was a great interview, by the way, with Angelique.
Yeah, she's really easy to talk to. We've talked to her for years.
That's about as good as I've heard from someone who covers Michigan. David, I don't know if you've heard, but we famously call it the blue wall back home, the media coverage of Michigan.
Uh-huh.
That's, it's usually rose-colored glasses everywhere you look. But that was very good. It was a very good objective.
2 months ago, because we had never, I don't know, Mark, if you've run into her in your travels, but when I was at the Michigan game 2 months ago, I made sure to find her out to say, hey, you know that Yahoo show in Fort Myers? I'm one of the 2 Yahoos. So we had a nice 10-minute talk.
No, I was going to try, but my seats when I was there for the Michigan State game were on the opposite side of the press box, so I couldn't.
Gotcha.
I couldn't get over there because I was in club level. It wouldn't have been that hard if I was on the right side.
Sure.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. A Tuesday after the Bills were lousy and blew a game they should have won. They were 7-point favorites, yet they trailed pretty much throughout, but took a lead with under 2 minutes to go. And were seemingly a play away from winning, and then seemingly won. Except after Will Lutz missed the 41-yard field goal for Denver. Buffalo had 12 men on the field, and Lutz made the 36-yarder to beat the Bills and give the Dolphins a 2-game lead in the loss column. So our poll question today is simply, did the Dolphins win the AFC East last night? Yay or nay? And Dolphin is feeling it.
Are they ever?
Put those fears aside. Put the anxiety aside. A new day is dawning. Wow. I didn't think it'd be that easy. I thought it would take a few more weeks. I thought, no way, too much scar tissue. But nope, apparently not.
Well, they think the Bills are in real trouble. That's the other part here, is that they're watching their kryptonite seemingly break apart in front of their eyes, David.
It's got to be part of them that's laughing. They're like, how come they never play like this against us? Man, this doesn't resemble the team we play against. When we play against them, they look like the 85 Bears. I mean, what the hell? Look at the 07 Patriots. I mean, damn. That gets everybody out. I mean, hell, they lost to New England. New England's got 2 wins.
They should have lost to the Giants.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they barely got by the New York Giants.
Barely got by the Bucks when they were in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. Man. So, do you think the Dolphins won the AFC East last night? And deep down, I think they're going to win the East, but I can't put the X next to them in the standings. I can't. I want to, but I can't.
David, you'll roll your eyes at this because we keep drawing the parallel with the Lions, but you could argue the Dolphins they have that X a little more penciled in than the Lions do with the way the Vikings are looking. Not for the playoffs, but for the division. Couldn't you argue that or no?
Well, you could, because Minnesota still plays Detroit 2 more times, and they're 2 back in the loss column. And so, in theory, if they win out, they win the North. And they're in the midst of a 5-game winning streak. But, I mean, come on. Listen, we love this Joshua Dobbs story, but, I mean, we do have to take a deep breath and go, it is Joshua Dobbs.
It's Joshua Dobbs.
Right. I mean, at some point, the clock does strike midnight here, right? I mean, he's a journeyman quarterback. Yeah, he could be coming into his own. And I will say this, Joshua Dobbs is going to have Jefferson to throw to in a couple of weeks. He ain't never had one of those before.
All right, let me ask you this question. Are the Miami Dolphins going to sweep the New York Jets?
You know I say no. I never count on a sweep.
No. Then you have to vote no.
And I did. I voted no, that the Dolphins have not clinched the East with the Bills losing. You know, I had the Dolphins going 4-2 in the division, splitting with Buffalo, splitting with the Jets, sweeping the Patriots. They've swept the Patriots. They've already lost to the Bills, and they still have 2 games with the Jets. Tough to sweep a division team, never mind a division team that's got a really good defense. Really good defense. Really good defense. So that's all.
Because if they can sweep the Jets, and I know what you're saying, but they're better than the Jets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness knows, yes. Yeah.
If they can do that, they can have the division wrapped up before Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'll be favored in the next 5 games they play. They should win these games. I mean, if we go by their modus operandi this year, Mark, in their next 5 games, do they play a good team?
No.
They don't play a team with a winning record, right?
They play the Jets twice, they play the Commanders, and they play the Titans.
So Raiders, Commanders, Titans, and the Jets twice.
That's 2 rookie quarterbacks, Zach Wilson twice, and the Commanders.
Well, and Sam Howell's
yeah,
he started 1 game last year, right?
Right.
It's close to a rookie as you can have for a second-year quarterback. Now, I will say Sam Howell might be the best of the group. He's playing pretty well this year.
He is. But 2 rookies, Zach Wilson and Sam Howell. That's what you're facing the next 5 weeks.
I know. They should go 5-0. They should at least go 4-1, which gets them to 10. And we think Buffalo will be hard-pressed to get to 10 with their remaining schedule. At 5-5, they got at Philly, at Kansas City, host Dallas, still at Miami. Who else am I missing?
The Bills got the Jets next week, and then it's Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and then they finish with the Dolphins.
By the way, Bills, Chargers. I mean, they deserve each other.
They really do.
That game could end in a 34-all tie right there. If anybody could play
and that
to a
34-all tie would keep the Chargers out of the playoffs at 8-1.
Right. and deservedly so, because they're the Chargers.
And it will all happen because they will have gone for 2 at some point during the game.
3 times, and they will have gone 0 for 3. Right. Yep. Did anybody watch the game into the early third quarter? Every now and then, a network will put a graphic on the screen in which, I don't know about you, but I'll go, damn, seriously? So the halftime score was 15-8. Do you know apparently there's only been one other game in the history of the NFL in which the halftime score was 15-8?
I mean, it makes sense. The 2-point conversion's not been in the league that long. You got it. There's unusual numbers to get to.
Okay, agreed. But only the second time. I mean, they've been playing in the league for a while. This isn't the, USFL.
Right, but
okay,
these are weird numbers to get to.
Gotcha. All right. So 15-8 at the half. And at the beginning of the second half, the graphic appears that says this is only the second time in NFL history that the halftime score has been 15-8. The only other time that it was 15-8 was in 1961 when the Broncos led the Bills 15-8 at the half. Now, what are the odds of that?
Now that's crazy.
Yeah. And not only that, the final score was like 21-10 or something like that. So Buffalo got a safety in the second half. That was it. I mean, so it's happened twice in league history, and both times it was Denver leading Buffalo 15-8. And they do it 62 years apart. Come on. That's like go out and buy a lottery ticket. It's crazy. You put that in your numbers. When you're playing numbers today, you work 15 and 8 into the equation. Unbelievable.
Oh, you might have to. I think it's worth about 300 schmil tonight.
Yeah, I think 2 of them are right around 300. I think they both.
Right. I think they're both up there where I could use it.
And Paul wants to know in our Twitch chat room, wasn't it 12-8? No, Josh Allen threw an interception with 40 seconds to go in the half, and the Broncos ran the fire drill, ran their kicker out there with no timeouts, and they got the snap off in time, and he drilled the field goal. So then they figured they'd try to do that at the end of the game. What the heck? That's the other thing. Sean Payton, Super Bowl winning coach. I mean, did anybody stay with the game to the end? For as much grief as McDermott's getting today, I thought he completely outcoached Sean Payton in the final 35 seconds of the game. He had 2 timeouts left. The Broncos decide on first down after the pass interference that they're just going to take a knee. And so McDermott goes, well, okay, I'll use timeouts. So they take a knee again on second down. Timeout. So now there's 24 seconds left. Denver doesn't have any timeouts. It's 3rd and long. If you take another knee, you can't spike it. You got to run your field goal unit onto the field. Now, I know you did it at the first half when you had 4 less seconds than you have now, but is this really how you want your kicker to win the game? Running out onto the field like a fire drill? And so sure enough, he missed it. But as it turned out, Buffalo had 12 men on the field, and he got a chance to take a deep breath and do it again.
That takes any out coaching of the other out of the equation, unfortunately, along with running the zero blitz.
So I know. Oh, they both. I mean, the 2 of them combined in the final minute. It was like, have you 2 done this before?
Let me ask you this: is that going to end up being the final nail in the coffin for Sean McDermott in Buffalo?
No.
If they miss the playoffs.
Well, no. That's not. That's you said is that the final nail in the coffin, which basically means no. The way you asked the question, you're basically saying, did Sean McDermott lose his job last night? No. Did Sean McDermott's job, is it no longer entrenched after last night? For the first time in his, what's he been there, 7 years?
Yeah, the heating pad went to a much higher temperature last night.
So if they miss the playoffs, there's a good chance he gets canned. And last night weighed a big, you know what I mean? It played a big part in their potential missing the
Well,
playoffs.
I don't know. See, because you got to remember, if you're canning the coach, you're likely canning the GM. He handpicked the GM. The coach was actually hired first in this instance. So if you're Buffalo, because you have an incredibly disappointing season and you miss the playoffs, do you blow your entire organization up? Or do you just suck it up and go, you know what? Winning is hard. And we had a bad year. And we're going to do better. You know, there's a lot of organizations, like Giants fans want Brian Daboll fired. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll were the best GM and coach in the league last year. All right. And now everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and they're having a nightmare season. So you blow up the entire organization. I mean, that's what bad organizations do, quite frankly.
Well, here's the only problem with that I think is they went AFC Championship game, then home playoff loss to the Chiefs, road playoff loss to the Bengals, and then if they miss the playoffs this year, I mean, that's just a downward spiral.
With a lot of injuries and a lot of things that happened outside the field, to me, you know, the Milano injury is huge in what's happened to this team. You can't coach injuries. But I do think his seat is a lot warmer. And the fact that they're calling about the offensive coordinator, I think you'll have some changes first before you'll have a head coach be fired. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. That's all still ahead. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Aha, all right.
Did you guys see what Trayvon Diggs sent out on Twitter last night after the loss?
Yep.
He said, well, he just said, man, 14 got to get up out of there. He's talking about his brother.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we haven't had that in a while. I hope people watching on Twitch realize what it is equipment-wise we're dealing with.
It's just a microphone being loose.
Trent, for the record, the Bills lost at Kansas City in 2020 in the AFC title game. They lost at Kansas City in 2021 in the 13-second game.
Okay.
And then last year they lost at home to the Bengals in the division round.
Okay, so I had that.
Yeah.
So it was AFC Championship game.
Division round.
Yeah.
And then this year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that? I don't know.
Well,
interesting trend.
I think if McDermott and Leslie Frazier hadn't screwed up the final 13 seconds against the Chiefs, they would have at least gone to the Super Bowl. But there's no doubt they're getting worse.
Yeah.
God, I would love that, Guillermo.
Oh, I would just love for Belichick to be in Buffalo.
Now that, Mark, if you talk about wanting to see Michigan in the playoff for the drama and the juice, I would love to see Bill Belichick in Buffalo.
So where are you at Saturday?
Georgia at Tennessee, then Iron Bowl, then Alabama, Georgia for the SEC title. You know, Georgia's never won one of those against Alabama.
I know.
2012, they lost late. 2018, they had the 2-touchdown lead. And Kirby, Hurts came off the bench to rescue Tua, and then Kirby with the fake punt, which is maybe the worst coaching decision I've ever seen. And then 2021, Alabama upset them.
Their defense on the field?
When they on 4th and 11, and they saw Justin Fields out on the field. Okay. And Alabama's like, look, Fields is on the field. They're going to fake it. And sure enough, they tried to run a fake with the defense on the field on 4th and 11 at midfield in a tie game. No big deal or anything. It was just the SEC championship and a berth in the playoff. There was nothing riding on it.
David, have you been to Knoxville before for a game?
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing this for almost 20 years. So, yeah.
Okay. And you've been with Troy, right? So you did.
Well, this is with Gary.
This is with Gary, but I'm saying for the NFL. So you were on Fox, and now you're Monday night.
Right. Since 2018. This is my 6th year with Troy.
Okay. And you've been doing the SEC thing longer?
Since 18 years.
Wow.
06. Basically, when the SEC run started, you know, Tebow and Urban's first title, that was our first year. Very lucky.
That is awesome.
Amazing games. I have to admit, got sentimental for the first time. It hit me 2 weeks ago leaving Tuscaloosa. I went, I'll be damned. Last time here. Okay. That first time all year I thought about this as the end.
Aw.
Games have been amazing.
No doubt.
I've got to get to Tuscaloosa.
Cool.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The Diamond District bonus hour. Thank you very much, Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. 6 to 9, we're on the Florida Sports Network, and 9 to 10, just the home base, Southwest Florida. That's all. That's it.
A reminder to join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their biggest diamond event of the year. Largest selection of GIA certified diamonds priced 8 to 10% over cost. 3 years interest-free financing. And Takori, America's top bridal designer, will also join the Diamond District for this big event. So be sure to stop by the Diamond District this weekend.
Wow. They make it sound like it's a big deal or something.
It is. It is a big deal. Felipe, if you're up and listening, might be time for you.
Wow. He
Start
is
the
still
clock.
listening. He is still listening occasionally. We've gotten texts. Okay, so we know somebody's still listening.
The only question is his girlfriend's mom still listening?
I know. Or now that, he's no longer associated, are they like, what am I listening to those two yahoos for?
Because you have, your daughter would occasionally put us on Twitch. Your wife will occasionally listen.
Yeah.
Your mom listens daily.
I know. It's ridiculous.
My family has no clue I even do this.
Come on.
I don't know if my mother, put it this way. If it were a life or death situation and my mother had to find this radio show, I don't think she could. And
how about your son?
He listens occasionally to the podcast. He likes Bud Elliott. He'll listen tomorrow.
Gotcha.
He'd care less to hear anything I have to say. But he likes Bud Elliott.
Oh, okay.
That's about all I get out of him. In fact, he tells me the other shows that he listens to. That's how it goes when I talk to Jake. I was listening to this. Were you?
Really? That's great.
That's cute.
But yeah, your dad was the guy.
He was the one
in the family. Right.
He was the one.
He was the one. Okay. And unfortunately, you hated it because he would end up, he agreed with you. He know how you thought. Okay. So he was more interested, or at least he would comment more on the ridiculous stuff I would say.
It was never the show. What it was with my father that always cracked me up is that you wrote your columns for years between the two local papers. And he would say, did you catch David's article? I spend 20 hours a week with the guy. I don't need to read his stuff. In fact, I got a pretty good idea that column's going to come up at some point on a Tuesday or Wednesday when we're running a little slow.
I was going to say, in fact, we did that column on Tuesday when the show was done. He wrote it for Wednesday. That blankety blank. I should get half. Right. That's what they say in New York City all the time. Because if you listen to sports radio in New York, it's all out of the Post and the Daily News. Honestly, those guys don't have an original thought to themselves. They just read the Post and the Daily News, and the next day they regurgitate it. And so the writers of the Post and the Daily News are like, could you guys give us just a little credit? I mean, could you say, hey, I was reading so-and-so in the Post the other day and they wrote, I probably should have done that. Should have somehow worked into the column. As my co-host Mark Miller was saying yesterday.
I liked it. I like the anonymity of it. I liked it just the way that it was.
Who are you kidding? You didn't want to be associated with any more with me than you already were. You were like, oh, enough. Golly.
I missed the column only because you would still do the Christmas letter and publish it.
I stopped doing the Christmas letter. I stopped 2 years ago doing the Christmas letter. You do not want me doing the Christmas letter now.
What did that entail?
But now, see, there are people who send Christmas cards.
Sure.
And then there are families. And I don't know, being from Michigan, I never saw one of these in my life in Michigan, that people send out a letter that just kind of says how the year has been, how things are going. I get a couple of them now that I've met other people down here. I've friends from Iowa. They don't send it out before Christmas. They wait until after Christmas so that everybody reads their letter. My wife's best friend sends out a Christmas letter describing everything that happened in the year. And the lives that these people have is much like their Facebook lives. Everything is fantastic.
Oh, it's a Hallmark channel.
The kids are doing great.
Yeah. Oh.
If they're grandkids, they're even better. And they're the smartest grandkids that there are.
Right.
And everything is wonderful and blissful.
Yeah, I'm madly in love with my husband, and we've been married now for 114 years. Okay, and everything is just great. I mean, these letters are like the Hallmark Channel, and you read them, and you get like 3 paragraphs in, and you're like, "This is crap." I don't know a single person in my life that has life going this well.
So David and I, because of work, we're on each other's Christmas card list because the wife sent them out.
Right.
And I got one of David's Christmas letters from his wife and brought it into the studio and said to him, who are these people? And David says, I have no idea.
Right. He read it to me. I didn't even realize what was in our Christmas letter.
Put him on the
All right.
stand.
And I'm like, wait a minute, that's our life? And he goes, that's your life. Your name's on it right here. And I'm like, well, the hell it is.
At that point, David took the Christmas letter over. And for the only family that we know of in the United States of America, wrote a truthful a dark, truthful Christmas letter.
There was only 1 year it was dark.
No, it was always a little cynical.
Oh, no. Oh, please. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Look at our lives, Mark. If you wrote a Christmas letter, it would have the same tone. Okay.
So it was snarky, cynical.
Yes.
And then 1 year, it was not a great year. And David wrote the letter.
Yes.
And literally when I got the letter, I looked forward every year to the letter coming because it was cynical. It was snarky. And it poked fun at his family as opposed to how everything is rosy. And I read this thing and went, oh, he's in a dark spot.
Yeah.
This vaulted over the line. He had friends calling from all over the country wondering what was wrong with David with the Christmas letter.
Yeah.
And it was at that point that the Christmas letter started running its course.
Well, that's when I said, okay, maybe I've gone too far. But I had garnered enough goodwill with the wife that she just let me go, even though she thought it was too dark. And it was kind of like, Jim Carrey. What was that one comedy that he did in which he kind of went over the line? It was all Dumb and Dumber. It was cute stuff and what have you. And the Mask. Wasn't it The Mask?
No. And I know the movie of which you speak, and I cannot think of the
But
name.
it was dark, and it was like, whoa, Jim's never done a movie like this. That was the Christmas letter. And it was like, oh, snap. So
I'm starting a petition to have you bring the Christmas letter back, David.
Oh, please. You're not alone. I
The
don't
problem
know.
is his wife doesn't want him to bring it back.
It depends on the day, to be brutally honest with you. It really does. It depends on the day. But as you get older, you become less of a people person. You just do. Hey, we'll send the letter out. We'll stay in touch with all our friends. I don't know if I want to. Really? I mean, when's the last time I saw so-and-so? 2004? Why do I want to stay in touch with them?
Yeah. You don't even send the letter, and the wife, we decided we're having our Christmas party again this year with the families, and the wife has invited everybody this side of Orlando.
It's ridiculous. Okay, and she's thinking people are going to say no. Who's ever said no? Especially if you're married and you have kids. What are you kidding? I get to go out. I get to just take my kid and say, here, go play. Just don't get hit by a car in the street and what have you. I'm going to talk to an adult for an hour and a half and not have to deal with you. Who says no to, and there's going to be food and alcohol.
Right.
Who says no to that?
I don't know.
How many pounds of protein you have, Mark?
15.
And what are you making?
Barbecue, barbacoa. I don't even know. I can't even afford to cater it. That's how many people are coming.
It's unreal. It's like a rehearsal dinner to a wedding when I heard how many people are invited to this thing.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I would clip for another one of those in a few years too. Miller and Moulton. Christmas parties. Christmas letters. It's what we do.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Trent, are you ready?
What'd you say, David?
Trent, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
What's up?
This, because I just went on the internet and looked it up. This was my Christmas letter in 2017.
Okay. All right. Hit me.
Okay. Mark, put the headphones on quickly. I'll do this as quickly as I can. Okay. Mark, tell him to put the headphones on. Mark. Okay. Here we go. Trent, Christmas letter 2017. Ready? Go. 3 weeks into 2017, I was fired. My mother-in-law fell and broke her shoulder. The same week, my left-turn loving wife spent a ton of money to attend the Women's March, only to return with the disposition of an inspired axe murderer. So how was your 2017? Truth be told, my mother-in-law healed up nicely. I was relieved to leave a bad situation, but the little lady of the house is struggling. You see, she's got tummy problems and has for 2 to 3 years. After dozens of tests and vials of blood work, the best medical advice she's received is don't drink any more soda. Of course, if she had not given up soda during the Bush administration, this tip might have been helpful. To remedy her situation and prevent any worksite explosions, my wife has resorted to eating 1 to 2 Lara bars daily. A Lara bar is described as the original fruit and nutty food bar. What they really are is the inner cardboard to a roll of toilet paper with a touch of sea salt. This leaves my soulmate hungry and more miserable when she gets home than when she left for work, and I didn't think that was possible. How hungry and miserable? Think the primal roar of a polar bear standing in the stream, shaking its head side to side, mouth agape, unable to catch the fish swimming by. Fortunately for me, I catch all the fish and have enough food stored to hibernate until the next presidential election. We thought things were looking up in September when I returned to the radio, reunited with my decade-long sidekick, Mark Miller. We're back on a new station, this time doing mornings. It's fun. The hungry polar bear wakes up at 4:30 a.m., and we're broadcasting from a makeshift studio in Mark's house. The walls are Detroit Red Wings red, which matches my eyes at that hour. Did I mention the hurricane? Irma destroyed our pool cage, forced us to get a new roof, left us without power for a week, and we were lucky. The wife and mother-in-law spent multiple days with 3 cats holed up in a hotel room without power. The highlight was 2 of them huddled in a bathtub singing barbershop to mask the sounds of the wind. As for the bulldog during all this, Rufus was fine, holed up in an air-conditioned comfort of an animal hospital at $45 a night. We were all a day away from joining Rufus ourselves. Okay, so there you go.
A1.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That's good.
Okay, then, oh, no, wait, it gets better. So I mentioned my daughter, blah, 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 and she got engaged. The young man asked me beforehand, and I wondered aloud, are you sure? He apparently was, and when we got the call with the news, I told our only child he will make a great first husband.
It's what he said to his daughter. He'll make a great first husband. They're divorced, by the way.
Yeah. I said it the night before they're married at the rehearsal dinner. The drunken father-in-law was like, you got to give the toast. And I said, it'll be, welcome to the family. You'll make a great first husband. And his side thought that was just a great joke. And my side knew I was drop dead serious. So the whole room loved it.
That is calling your shot. Incredible. And yes, KW, I will save not this part of it because this is the break, but that whole segment needs to be in the best of.
Yep.
Okay, I say he's planning a military career. The key word is he's a Southern gentleman. Keyword Southern. I was told his side seems pretty proud of their roots and heritage. I don't see any problems. After all, the Northerners will be paying for the festivities. There will be an open bar, and the T-shirts reading North 1, South nothing will be tastefully done. I wrote about 8 of those. Trent, there's not much I do that I like. I actually wrote a really good Christmas letter.
You're proud of your work.
Oh,
I did. It would take days. Okay, I would write. This is the only thing I wrote all year where I had notes and things that I remembered, and it was like, how are you going to write about this? And oh yeah,
that is incredible work.
Even Mark would say, he goes, so when are you sending the Christmas letter? Okay, wife's asking, when are we getting the letter? I'll go, oh, they're going to the mail soon. Okay, good.
We've already got our cards. They're done and printed. Wife will my guess is my wife will send them out on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And it all started because there's one card that we get really early, and my wife's goal is to make sure they get our card before we get theirs.
Unbelievable.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until we're out of here. I'm racing to an airport in Buffalo. Hope you're all having a better day than that. And if you're a Dolph fan, you are, because the Bills lost and they're 5-5, and you're 2 games up in the loss column, and life's looking pretty damn good.
There'll be a few angry Bills fans at the airport with you this morning, won't there?
Oh, my goodness. It's there's 2 ways to look at this. It's like 44 degrees right now in Buffalo. And you could argue that it really feels more like 10 degrees, or Bills fan is running so hot right now. They are so mad that it's really like 94 degrees. And we had a decent walk from the booth to where our cars were. And so you had to walk through the parking lot. 3 sections of the parking lot. Oh, my goodness, Mark.
Do they know who you are in a similar way that on Saturdays you guys are kind of noticed because you're not in team colors, so they know you're somebody that's not watching the game. A little different for a Monday night game, isn't it?
Well, also, we didn't leave with Joe and Troy, okay, because they were actually being driven in a golf cart to the waiting automobiles. We do not get the golf cart. Right. So we were walking halfway around the stadium. So no attention. But we were able to observe. They were not happy. Throwing things, smashing things, lots of glorious language. Oh, yeah. We're thinking to ourselves, I don't know if we can cut anybody off leaving this parking lot.
Yeah, I've got to go see a Bills fan right after the show.
Oh, boy. Is there like a money at stake here? A sale of some kind?
Yes.
Oh, man. They're supposed to spend money with you?
No, but I have to see him to get some information about selling something. So it has to be done.
You need to please be kind.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
He's bigger than I am.
And he's a lot angrier today, I can tell you that.
A lot angrier. And this is from a Bills fan who had kind of not given up on them, but knew the limitations a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I think most Bills fans, even like the 2 you were talking about that you communicate with, they had succumbed to the fact that their team wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be this year because of the injuries. They still couldn't handle yesterday.
No, they've lost to the Patriots and the Broncos in like the last 4 weeks. No, they're not doing well. I mean, at least the Dolphins are like, well, no, we only get beat by the good teams. You put a bunch of Patriots and Broncos on our schedule and we'll go undefeated.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1851 we start today. Moby Dick is first published. 1883, Treasure Island is published. 1888, USC plays their first football game. They were not the Trojans then, David.
No,
They were the Methodists.
there's so many jokes there.
Did they win?
I'm married to the daughter of a Methodist minister. There are so many jokes going through my head right now.
I know. I just thought maybe you'd let one of them fly.
Well, I'll let the one fly. The very first time I was invited over the house for dinner, and I'm Catholic and they're Methodist, and obviously it's a pretty big deal with them, Dad being a minister and all. So they're trying to gauge, maybe if the relationship goes further, how big of a role religion's going to play in this. And future mother-in-law just calmly says, "So what do you think of the Methodists?" And without looking up, I said, "Well, they play good defense and they're strong up the middle."
1908, Einstein presents his quantum theory of light. 1960, Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles reaches number 1. This one's for David and I. Today in 1981, it was the first world championship fight between two Puerto Ricans. It was for the World Super Welterweight Championship. Carlos Santos was defeated by Wilfred Benitez in a 15-round unanimous decision. Also in 81, Paul Bear Bryant ties Stagg with 314 wins. 1988, Murphy Brown premieres on CBS. That was a good show.
Oh, had a good run.
It did. 1991, Michael Jackson's Black or White music video premieres simultaneously in 27 countries on MTV, Fox TV, and BBC's Top of the Pops. Not that he was a big deal or anything.
No, he wasn't a superstar. No.
Today in 93, Shula sets the record with most wins in NFL history.
I believe Doug Peterson, his quarterback, 4th string quarterback that year for the Dolphins, on the road in Philadelphia.
Casino Royale, the 21st Bond film, premiered today in 2006. Tucker Carlson Tonight premiered on Fox today in 2016.
Trump may name him vice president.
I know.
He may put him on the ticket. Well, it'll make for a hell of a debate. That's let's come on. The whole world's a television show. All this stuff that we talk about on this show, it's a television show. Football's a television show. Okay, take your politics, put it aside. Okay, the vice presidential debate will be something.
King Charles is 75 today, David.
Well, it doesn't look a day over 74 either.
Or 92.
Yeah, exactly.
Condoleezza Rice is 69. Jack Sikma and Willie Hernandez are 68. Kurt Schilling's 57. And Devontae Smith is 25. What did I miss, David?
The fact, by the way, Kurt Schilling's not in the Hall of Fame is an absolute disgrace. All right. I just had to get that off my chest. A few things. Did you have Billy the Kid was killed today?
I did not.
Okay. 1882. Billy the Kid was killed today by Frank Leslie. Apollo 12, which was the second manned, space launch by us that landed on the moon. Apollo 12 lifted off today in 69. And the Marshall plane crash was today in 1970. The football team. 53 years ago today. Hate to end on that.
Folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Michigan for the good, where Kalamazoo man thought he was getting scammed. Kept getting emails about winning a big cash second chance giveaway. And the 67-year-old thought it was bunk because he didn't know he was in the drawing. But he said, thought I'd give the Michigan Lottery a call. He had won $416,322 on a second chance prize. And he had no idea he was even in the contest.
Damn.
For the bad, we go to Naples, where Stephen Campbell decided to get naked.
Okay.
He threw a pair of tennis shoes and clothes into the Naples Bay and then went for a run down Fifth Avenue, stopping in Bistro 821 to take a seat at an empty table. Left the restaurant, then exposed himself in the middle of traffic on 5th and 11th. He was finally picked up and arrested for disorderly conduct. No reason as to why he got naked, but a good show for those on 5th Avenue. Finally, the ugly, we go to Australia, where they might just all be tougher than us in Australia, David. Because this guy's doing his work and he decides to maybe catch some fish.
Okay.
Jumped into a little pond, and all of a sudden something grabbed him. It was a crocodile.
Okay.
Crocodile rolled.
Dang, that's
with
not good.
The man's leg in its mouth.
Uh-oh.
Then, as it rolled over again, this guy started going after the crocodile. He bit the crocodile in the eye.
Wow.
The crocodile let go. He rolled away and was able to get away. He said, I think it chased me 3 or 4 meters, but then it stopped. He roped up his leg and made it to the hospital for a full recovery.
Wow. Bit the croc in the eye.
Leathery.
David, would you rather take a bite out of a crocodile eye or eat snake pizza?
Okay. All right. If we're going to go to that extreme. Now, do I have to be in the croc's mouth before I bite the eye? Because I'd rather just bite the eye, but I really don't want to be in his mouth having to do it.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 14th, 2023.
Hey, we got Maction, baby. You know, the whole 50 days of football. Not 1, not 2, but 3 MAC games. We actually have 2 teams with a winning record playing each other. That hasn't happened very often in the MAC this year. 7 o'clock, ESPN2. Best team in the MAC, Toledo. They're already in the MAC title game. But they're visiting 6-4 Bowling Green as a 10.5-point favorite. 7 o'clock, ESPNU. Western Michigan at Northern Illinois. The hometown Huskies are 5-point favorites. And if you play Akron, you're favored. Eastern Michigan's playing 2-8 Akron. And they're home, and they're 3.5-point favorites. And, that's a CBS Sportsnet special right there. There will be 1,318 people on hand. You can guarantee it.
The Rockets will travel well to Bowling Green. What are they, about 30 minutes apart? Give me the Rockets. I'll lay the big number tonight, David.
Well, you crushed Maction last week. I think you got every one right.
I'll ride the Rockets for one more week.
All right. The in-season tournament resumes tonight in the NBA. Heat in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Magic in Brooklyn to face the Nets. TNT double dip. Spurs and Thunder at 7:30. I guess the networks are counting on us interested in this Wembayama kid. Because the Spurs are 3-7.
Right.
But,
and Oklahoma City's not a draw on the TV.
No, they're not, even though I actually think they're pretty good. They're 6-4 so far on the year. Harden and the Clippers, who've yet to win since they got them, they're in Denver to face the Nuggets. Denver's only a 4.5-point favorite. What am I missing there? Who's not playing for Denver? I know Murray's out with the hamstring. But anyway. And what do we got in the NHL tonight?
Everybody playing is what we have in the NHL.
Goodness, man. 3, 4, 6, 8, 9 games tonight. Tampa Bay's in St. Louis. Florida's in San Jose. A lot of pressure on the Panthers. When you're facing a 2-12-1 team, you got to get a win. Last team that lost to San Jose, coach got fired. Florida Panthers on the road, Mark, are minus 280.
And they're not playing Bobrovsky tonight either.
And
still minus 280. This is a Moulton special to take San Jose against the backup goaltender.
It is. Hey, listen, Columbus at home's nearly plus 200 against the Penguins. They're only 2 points behind them in the standings. Just saying. So, I lost last night. I took the Knicks in the points. Yeah, they didn't cover.
Some good college hoop tonight as well.
Great.
Sparty and Duke, and then Kansas and Kentucky.
The Champs Classic. By the way, Tom Izzo calls it the wrong thing every single year. He calls it the Champions Tournament or some Tournament of Champions.
Well, he's playing Duke, so he usually loses this game.
Hey, Duke got beat over the weekend, by the way. Arizona beat them. Really good game, too. And
I think Arizona vaulted to number 3 in the country after that.
Yeah, from 12-3 after the win. Neutral court win against Duke. So Duke only a 3.5-point favorite tonight.
Sparty.
The Gators play Florida A&M. They're a 33.5-point favorite in that one. So that's a little bit of what's going on tonight. Tomorrow, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, folks from Pro Football Network, as we'll start making the turn towards the weekend on Miller and Moulton. David, safe travels home.
Thank you.
Rumor has it there's an Anchor Bar at the airport. You might be able to get those wings after all if you have time.
That'd be outstanding. I'll be a tourist.
Miller and Moulton. Have a great day, everybody. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned
Hey,
Naples Tiki Bar
I'm
and
gonna
Grill is an
go.
outdoor
Okay.
eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center.